Live from Jackie Robinson Ballpark in beautiful downtown Daytona Beach, Florida. It is time to bring the curtain down on the 2024 Bethune-Cookman Baseball regular season. It's a three-game set with the Alabama State Hornets with crucial playoff seeding on the line. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Trillo. Happy to have your company. Happy to have Bryce Wojnowski back in the booth. It feels like a million years since we've done one of these long road trips for the baseball team, notwithstanding. Bryce, this Alabama State team hits the ball hard, has some could be suspect on the pitching and defense side, but expect a lot of runs this weekend.
Yeah, Mike, this is an Alabama State team that has been the class of the SWAC for the last several years. This has been the team to beat. This has been the team that everybody has been gunning for. They're well coached. They're well recruited. All around, statistically, they really look great on the year. They're essentially the top offensive team in the SWAC this year. Pitching, they're a little closer to middle of the pack, but all in all, they don't look all that of a team that is 16-11 in SWAC play. They just haven't quite figured out a way to win as many games. So for the Wildcats this week, you're not looking up at the Hornets like you normally would be, but this is still a very much a take care of business weekend. And while you only need one game to clinch your seeding, it would be really nice to do that in the Thursday opener.
Let's reiterate: the Wildcats 18-8, Alabama State 16-11. That's 2-3 in the SWAC East. The Wildcats need just one win this weekend to clinch second place, and that is very important because then you avoid Florida A&M on the top side of the bracket.
And really, that's what kind of I don't want to say the message has been, because you always want to take that top spot, but when Florida A&M, especially when the Wildcats dropped a couple of games late down the stretch, it really became trying to find your way to lock in that 2 seed, because the way the SWAC tournament is set up, if you're in that 2 spot, you can avoid Florida A&M all the way until the championship game, and that's an ideal spot to be against the defending SWAC champions. So again, you only need one win, but the closer you get to Saturday without a win, the tougher it's going to be to get one. So take care of business with your ace on the mound.
Tanner Babela will toe the mound as he has done every Friday this season. The SWAC preseason pitcher of the year, named by Perfect Game, and he is in pole position with a couple of good performances down the stretch to be that SWAC pitcher of the year. He's got a 2.38 ERA. Randy Flores, the center fielder for Alabama State, digs in. And we are underway at the Jack first of three. Thanks for joining us on a rare Thursday night edition of BCU Baseball on the CatEye Network. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the three-game set this week. Babela gets a big swing and miss from Randy Flores, a senior batting .347. Get ready to hear some gaudy offensive numbers when I run down this Bama State offense this week. There's a ball outside. Flores, 51 runs on 70 hits, 13 doubles, 4 triples, 9 homers, and 40 RBI, on base of 428. There's a swing and a miss. And 2 strikes. The count goes 2-2 on Flores. Flores with a .347 batting average. Second in the starting lineup. He grounds one towards short. Olison on the grass. And he barely beats the speedy Flores over there at first for one down.
Maybe if nothing else, that's the one thing the SWAC is known for, is just speed up and down these lineups. Both Southern and Bethune-Cookman are in the top 5, I believe, in all of NCAA baseball in steals. So there's athletes up and down this conference. It's not limited to those two teams.
Here's Ali LaPred, another senior batting .330, a upperclassman heavy roster for Alabama State. He hits one high in the air down the first base line and will arc foul. It is a gorgeous day for baseball here in Daytona Beach. Temperature in the high 80s, not a cloud in the sky. Wind whipping hard out towards left field. Here's the 0-1 from Babela. This one's popped up down the left field line. Garrett Shun is going to track it down and make the catch for out number 2.
It'll be interesting to watch the Bethune-Cookman rotation work this weekend, because it's your last tune-up until the games really start to matter. And so for guys like Babela, it's kind of more of what we've preached all season. Work to contact, let this really outstanding defense do what it's done all season long. They don't necessarily miss a ton of bats up and down the rotation. Don't feel like you have to either.
Here is the standout freshman Juan Cruz, he takes a fastball strike. He is batting .396, and no, I did not print this stat sheet off of a video game.
Leads the team in RBIs, batting average.
0-1. He lines one to left field. There's a base hit. So composed for someone so young and new to the college game, and Alabama State keeps the inning alive.
Yeah, for a freshman to come right up to the Division I level, no matter how far down that Division I totem pole you may be, and to slash those kind of numbers. And in the age of the transfer portal, he'll be a hot name if he chooses to take his eligibility elsewhere in the offseason.
Here's Jack Hay, the designated hitter. There's a fastball low and away for ball one. Hay batting .332. This entire Alabama State batting order is hitting over 300. 47 runs on 61 hits for Hay. Swing and a miss at a breaking ball, 1-1. 13 doubles, 2 triples, 3 homers, 36 RBI for Jack. The senior check back to first. Cruz dives in safely. Juan sporting that bright yellow sliding mitt on his right hand. 1-1. Ground ball towards second. Once again on the outfield grass is Colton Olison. And he'll make the play to end the inning. No runs. 1 hit by Juan Cruz, and he is left on. We go to the bottom of the first. Alabama State, nothing. Wildcats coming to bat. This is Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the CatEye Network. We go to the bottom of the first, no score, opening game of this weekend series between the Wildcats and the Alabama State Hornets. We now introduce you to the junior right-hander from Venezuela, Jose Almazan. He will start the proceedings on the mound for Alabama State. He's got a .582 ERA, 3-5 on the season. 13 appearances with 8 starts, 51 innings pitched. He's given up 44 runs on 57 hits, 33 earned, walking 26 and striking out 40. Opponent batting average of .284. Daniel Figueroa stands in to face him. Righty to righty, here's the first pitch and a fastball, strike one. Figueroa batting .296. 36 runs on 40 hits, 5 doubles, 16 RBI, on base of .439. And he has owned this leadoff spot for the last couple of weeks. And he grounds one towards the shortstop side. McIntosh fields and skips it to first in time. And we said it about Randy Flores, but Daniel Figueroa can motor around the bases.
And, we haven't seen him for a little bit here at home, so we didn't have a chance to talk about it. But a lot of credit to Figueroa for really turning his season around. He was put down in that 9 spot towards the bottom of the lineup for a while to get his head right, to figure out the bat. And he really has emerged as the kind of leadoff hitter that this Wildcats team had hoped he could be coming into the season.
Here's Garrett Chun, one of the seniors playing his last home series. We'll honor them on Senior Day on Saturday. He's batting .254, Garrett. 37 runs on 52 hits, 6 doubles, 2 triples, and 36 RBI. And he watches one low inside, count 1-1. Chun's second on the team in RBI. Actually, he's taken the lead back. No, he's not. Jose Gonzalez still has more at 44. Missed him on my sheet. And he hits one high in the air to right field and deep. Going back is LaPret. He's at the track. He watches that one hammer off the public sign halfway up the wall. It's going to be a stand-up double for Garrett Chun. And he is on base for the first Wildcat base runner of the evening.
Not a bad effort from LaPret out there. I think that ball ended up hitting off the top of his glove before it hit off the public side. So he really gave it a run down there. That's about as hard hit a ball as you'll see from Garrett Chun. The Wildcats have learned to really love that right field corner, especially the last handful of weekends that they've been here, doing a lot of damage down there.
Off the bat, I thought that had a chance, but the wind is blowing so hard in from right or across the opposite direction that I don't think it had a chance. We may see some bombs hit towards left today, though.
That was a nice piece of opposite field hitting as well. Don't see that a lot from Chun.
Now here's Sergio Rivera, and he whacks one out towards left, and a leaping catch made just shy of the track by Landry.
And that hard contact early, we talked about it a lot throughout the season. It's one of the things you harp on a lot in modern day baseball, is kind of that indicator of what's maybe to come later. But Almazan letting up a lot of hard hit balls early in this game.
Here is the aforementioned Jose Gonzalez, leads this team in RBI with 44, also batting average at .357, the designated hitter. He's got Chun in scoring position, 2 outs, bottom of the first. And Almazan will come home with it. That one's hit softly opposite field. Tough play for Jenkins, and he will make the play on the outfield grass. He was shaded towards second, maybe to try and pick off Chun. But that's the end of the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. So both teams match each other's offensive stats. We go to the second. No score here between the Wildcats and the Hornets on the CatEye Network. We go to the second. Kyler McIntosh, who made a nice play at shortstop in the first, will lead it off for Alabama State. Babela will come home with it, and it's grounded foul outside of third. McIntosh, a junior, batting .325, 31 runs on 55 hits, 14 doubles, 4 homers, 37 ribbies. Popped sky high on the infield. Jorge Gonzalez-Fabo calls off Bo Cabello inside of the mound and makes the catch. 1 down. Just looking at Alabama State's numbers, Bryce, it is clear what the intent from head coach Jose Vasquez was when building this roster. It's just, we're going to hit the ball hard and hope that's enough. And against a lot of these SWAC staffs, it is.
Up and down the lineup, not a whole lot of holes. But again, it can be tough. I mean, it has the makings of a team that should succeed into the tournament when you're never really down and out when you have that kind of offense. But when you don't have somebody to rely on the mound, it can be a little tricky.
First pitch, a fastball strike to the catcher Jamal George, a sophomore, batting .301, lowest batting average in the starting lineup. 37 runs on 47 hits, 9 doubles, 7 homers, and 29 ribbies. George was starting last year as a true freshman, I remember, against us here at the Jack. There's a ball outside. Wildcats avoided the Hornets in the SWAC tournament last year. They were on the other side of the bracket. Remember, it's basically 2 different tournaments going on simultaneously, and then the winners play each other, almost like a MLB playoffs type thing. Breaking ball, swing and a miss for strike 2.
And we talked about it a little pregame. This series is very reminiscent of the last home series, the finale series last season, where you were, again, playing to lock up that 2 seed, trying to avoid, in that case, it was Alabama State in the 1 seed. This year it's Florida A&M. So really just trying to stay away from that 1 spot on the other side of the bracket.
If they do get the 2 seed, they would play 3 West in the first round. Currently, that's Prairie View A&M, but there's so much to play for on the western side. All 4 spots essentially up for grabs this weekend. We'll talk about that as we go along. The count is 3-2, and it's grounded up the middle. There's a base hit. George waited on it. Bo Cabello had to come down the middle with one, and it's lined up the middle.
And I'll say this, too, about the Alabama State offense as a whole. We see those kind of gaudy offensive numbers a lot on the west side of the conference. It's just less of a pitching-heavy operation on that side, whereas the East, if you look at the leaderboards in SWAC pitching statistically, it's BCU, FAM, Jackson State, and Bama State in that order. So for Alabama State to be able to put up those kind of offensive numbers against the pitching in the East, which is vastly superior to the West, tells you a lot about the kind of bats that are on this ball club.
Christian Lopez stands and he grounds one to short. A flip to second for one. On to first. A stretch by Soufrain means there's a double play, and the inning is over. No runs, 1 hit. Nobody left. Nice job by the middle infield to turn it. And we go to the bottom of the second with no score here on the CatEye Network. Eddie Soufrain leads off the bottom of the second for the Wildcats. And outside of Jose Gonzalez, there may not be a hotter bat in the Wildcat lineup right now than Manny Soufrain. Hit that grand slam against Florida A&M 2 weeks ago to propel the Wildcats to a series win. And a second straight year with an overall season series victory against the Rattlers. He fouls the first pitch off. Overall, Soufrain's batting .303. And he watches a strike on the... Oh, no, it's a ball. My apologies. I thought that home plate umpire Patrick Graham was going to call that one. 1-1 the count. 38 runs on 43 hits for Soufrain. He fouls another one off. 9 doubles, 2 triples, a team leading 5 homers and 34 RBI. You see Jose Gonzalez back on 4 home runs. I know he wants to get back level with Manny. A little bit of dugout competition, never a bad thing. Almazan ahead of the count 1-2. Here's the pitch. Way outside, 2-2.
And when we talked about Manny with Coach Hernandez, really throughout the season, it's that pop that he has really wanted to look for as something to separate him from just being a good hitter to being a great hitter. And when you look at that short porch that we'll be seeing in Georgia Tech Stadium next week, could be a big week for the first baseman.
2-2, pop foul out of play, count holds.
But he's really such a great modern baseball player because he's got that pop. He's not necessarily maybe hitting quite as many home runs as he could, but it's the walks, it's that on base percentage that has made him so dangerous. .517. He's on base every other time. That is so valuable.
And a team high 48 walks. He has more walks than strikeouts. 2-2. And he golfs one foul, and we'll do the 2-2 for the third time.
And that's not to mention 17 hit by pitches. So he's just a guy that gets on base by any means necessary. He had a big lead on the team in hit by pitches till Daniel Figueroa kind of out of nowhere has taken a bunch in the last handful of weekends to jump in front 19-17.
And that's, again, valuable to have in your leadoff spot if you're just getting on base consistently. Here's the 2-2 for the third straight time to Soufrain. And he pops one straight up. That playable for George? No, it's over the wall. And a nice catch by a fan in the front row.
And I think, too, for Coach Hernandez, you don't really want to mess with the mix at the top of this lineup just because it's been so similar all season long. But Manny Soufrain is really your textbook kind of 2 or even 1 hitter in the modern baseball game just because he gives you that pop out of the gate and a guy who's gotten on base so much.
For the 4th consecutive time in this at-bat, we'll do the 2-2. And he watches one outside, count goes full. And those are the tough takes that Manny Soufrain consistently will get, especially outside and low, because he's got such a big, bulky frame.
Not to mention he's so used to seeing balls on the outside half of the plate. He knows when he can and when he can't lay off.
Full count. And he grounds one to the right side. That's going to get by the glove of Jenkins for a base hit. What a beautiful at-bat by Manny Soufrain.
And there's been a stark difference between the start of this game for Almazan versus for Babela. Babella's got a lot of weak ground balls, a lot of weak contact. Everything that Almazan has had hit the other way has been hard. And that ball, even though it scraped the ground, is as hard hit a ball as you will see. Manny Soufrain got every bit of that turned on one inside as he's done so many times this season.
And you saw Jenkins make a nice play to end the first for the Wildcats as he got to a ball similar to that was hit maybe not quite as hard. That one was scorched. And now here's Irvin Escobar, the catcher. First pitch righty to righty. Is a breaking ball low, 1-0. Escobar second on the team in batting average at .304. 19 runs on 28 hits, 4 doubles, 2 triples, 14 RBI. Of course, he has split a ton of time behind the plate this season. A 1-0 from Almazan is bounced to the plate. Soufrain takes off. George throws to second. And it's going to be a stolen base for Manny Soufrain. They might call that a wild pitch. We'll see.
And it's, you look at the steal numbers for a guy like Manny Soufrain with the frame that he has to not only have now 9 steals on the season, but to be 9 for 10 on steal attempts this year.
They called it a wild pitch.
But regardless, to have that kind of, that threat of even that guy can run on you when he needs to. We've seen him steal third this year.
Now, Escobar can maybe see a RBI in his eyes. He lifts one to left field, and it's going to be dropped. No, it's going to be caught. My apologies. It's right there in the shadows, but it's deep enough that Soufrain advances to third. Landry was able to track that down. It was right where the light meets the shadow, and I lost the ball, and I thought he might have dropped it.
And especially based on the way that Flores kind of ran behind him and almost made it look like he was trying to track a ball. But again, another just hammered ball out into the gap. Just a little bit hung up, just a bit too long for Landry to be able to get under it. But man, it is not really a promising start, even though there's no runs on the board for Almazan.
Well, here's Jose Gonzalez Fabo, the freshman. We were talking before the game, Bryce, and we were talking about Fabo as he watches one low and away, ball one, as the player on this team with the most untapped potential.
And it's really been his defense that has kept him in the lineup consistently, which is a credit to him, especially as a freshman. We've seen a little bit of maturity the later we've gotten into this season as far as being able to be a little bit more disciplined at the plate, taking what's given. But he's still got a ways to go.
Way outside 2-0. Numbers for Fabo. He's batting .250. 12 runs on 29 hits. 6 doubles, a triple, 2 homers, and 12 RBI. Those 2 homers came way earlier in the season. One in game 1 against Stonehill, the other against Florida Gulf Coast. He watches one in there as a strike 2-1. Unfortunately, Fabo has been kind of a strikeout magnet. 36 strikeouts to just 11 walks.
Numbers have improved a bit, up to a .328 on-base percentage.
Watches another one low, 3-1.
He's been a little more disciplined at the plate. Really, the problem hasn't so much been discipline as it's been the kind of swings that he's been putting on balls when he's gotten a chance to hit it. Way too much uppercut, way too much trying to find balls in the gap, trying to hit it over the wall. Whereas a single right here would do the job just as well.
3-1, and he takes outside ball 4, so he's not going to get a chance to drive in Sufrain from third. Runners on the corners for Colton Olison.
And for Fabo, that's a big part of what could help him make his job easier at the plate, is if you're going to be able to take walks. It was a tough pitch on the outer half of the plate to end that at bat. A good take there. If he can force those balls to have to come in on the zone by taking pitches like that, he'll have an easier time seeing pitches to hit to be able to put, through the holes in the infield or into the gap.
Here's Colton Olison batting .266. Runners on the corners. And the first pitch from Almazan is grounded softly towards short, or towards second. No play at second as Fabo was taken off, so it's going to be an RBI ground out for Colton Olison. Sufrain comes in, and it's 1-0 Bethune-Cookman.
And that's another good job right there by Fabo to not only keep his head in the game, understand the run scenario there, to hustle that play out, and to end up with a run on the other side of it, because he's able to keep that pressure on defensively and eventually beat out any chance for a throw.
Now 2 outs. Here's the 9-hole hitter, Jamie Villafane. Been in and out of the lineup this year with a hand injury, Jamie. Came back into the fold 3 series ago against Mississippi Valley State and has proven his worth enough to stay in. He's bounced around. He was batting near the top of the order early. He's been in the middle. Now he's batting in the 9-hole. And he's ahead 1-0 of Almazan here. And he grounds one towards third. Sliding stop by Lopez. Cross the diamond in time on 2 hops. But the Wildcats get a run on 1 hit and strand one as well. They take a 1-0 lead as we head to the third right here on the CatEye Network. The 8-hole hitter Quentin Jacobs leads off for Alabama State. Wildcats have a 1-0 lead via Colton Olison's RBI in the last inning. First pitch is strike from Babela, who has allowed 2 hits, but the defense has worked him out of every other jam. Doesn't have a strikeout or a walk yet in this game. Starts with a strike to Jacobs. And already pitched number 2 on the way, and it's tipped foul. Jenkins, the freshman, batting .317, 15 runs on 40 hits, 4 doubles, 2 RBI. And this starting lineup for Alabama State has been very consistent over the entire season. As there's the first strikeout of the game for Babela. As down on strikes goes Jacobs.
Nice pitch mix there. Jacobs had no idea what was coming, was way in front of that pitch, and just kind of had to do his best to try to put the bat on the ball because he knew the second that he committed that he was going to be nowhere near it.
Nine-hole hitter Isaiah Landry, the center fielder, will step in. He'll chop one softly towards third. Charging and barehanding is Fabo, and he throws the ball away into the Alabama State bullpen. And it's going to be an error that allows Isaiah Landry to get all the way to second.
That's one of the things you really want to make sure you clean up. The third base side of the infield has been kind of a revolving door throughout the season. Maybe that's not quite the best terminology to use because it hasn't quite been that maybe volatile over there. But there's been a handful of guys who've been in and out of those spots, and you got to make sure that you're taking care of plays like that as you know, again, Alabama State puts the pressure on with the speed of the runner, but you still need to tighten that stuff up because that's the kind of play right there that will be infuriating to watch and really frustrating when you get to tournament time.
Back to the top of the order, Randy Flores grounded out to second his first time up, and he chops one foul first base side.
They do end up calling that a single with the advance on the error, so giving credit kind of for the hustle play there to Landry.
Everybody up and down this Alabama State lineup is very fast. That one skipped to the plate for ball 1. You see Colton Olison playing deep in the hole at second with his feet on the outfield grass against this pull-heavy team. It bounced to the plate again from Babela.
You talk about the speed of the Hornets team. It's kind of similar to the Wildcats team from last year that had a lot of speed, guys like Malik Stevens up and down the lineup. But they've only attempted 85 steals, so they don't really utilize it in the same way that the Wildcats have.
2-1. Popped sky high to left field. Garrett Chun will track it and squeeze it for out number 2. Landry faked like he was going to third, but will remain on second base. Garrett Chun's second put out of the ballgame. And you're right, Bryce. Most of the contact for Alabama State is soft. It's popped up. It's rolled over. We've only really seen one big hit, and that was Juan Cruz's blast to left field.
And that's really how you build a season with the 13th best ERA in college baseball, is working to that weak contact.
Sign getting the strikes when you need to, like that slider that caught the outside edge to Ali LaPred. Didn't get to his numbers the first time he was up. LaPred batting .330. 69 runs on 58 hits, 13 doubles, and a team-high 12 homers. 36 RBI watches, one in the dirt. That is something that Tanner Babela is going to have to clean up if he wants to be the guy going into the tournament. He does spike a lot of balls and leave his catchers with a lot of work to do.
Fortunately, we don't have a Jackie Robinson ballpark as backdrop.
But sometimes Tanner can just do that. Power a fastball in on the hands by the bat of LaPred, and it's 1-2.
The reality is that in this league, if you can pound the zone consistently, you can have a ton of success. Unless you're really throwing meatballs, if you can pick your spots, velocity doesn't even necessarily have to be there. Guys just aren't maybe skilled enough to be able to consistently put it in play.
Babela gives LaPred a garbage pitch down away. It's 2-2. Babela trying to strand a runner aboard for the third straight inning for Alabama State, as the Wildcats have a 1-0 lead here in the top of the third. 2-2. Once again low, 3-2. And it's consistently low is where he's missing. Not high, not outside. He's over-rotating on that fastball and just kind of spiking it. Canada, the junior from Tampa, fires the payoff, and it's golfed deep to left field. Sean will watch it go. And it's the team-leading 13th home run for Ali LaPred as it snuck inside the foul pole, and it's a 2-1 lead for Alabama State.
Wow, and that ball was hit so high, I thought for sure with the wind blowing towards left field a bit that was going to blow foul. From here, it looked foul, but of course, we're not quite on center with that line. But man, that ball was hit maybe just as high as it was far. But again, that's the kind of dangerous team you see up and down this lineup from Alabama State. That's why they'll be so dangerous in the SWAC tournaments, because there's guys everywhere in the lineup who can hit for average, who can hit for power, who can do that.
Here's Juan Cruz, single to left field in the first. These Hornets now have a 2-1 lead, and he smacks one deep to left center field. Going back, Figueroa, and he's going to watch it go into the parking lot. Back-to-back home runs on 2 straight pitches for Alabama State, and it is 3-1.
And that is quite the shift. 2 balls, 2 mistake pitches, just so happened to be on back-to-back tosses for Babela. But from nothing but weak contact to 2 of the harder hit balls you'll see in this ballpark, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen any kind of mound visit just to kind of talk things over with Babela, but he'll trot back out there. I might throw one out of the zone here just to try to get my head back on right after 2 homers like that.
Home run number 8 on the year for the freshman Juan Cruz. He pitches one low to Jack Hay, and it's 1-0. One of the through lines for this BCU team on defense this year is they have not been able to get off the field with 2 outs. They have allowed so many 2-out rallies by opposing teams. There's low again, 2-0. And it's happened again. 2 outs, runner on second. You're ahead in the count, 2-1. Or sorry, 1-2. And then back-to-back home runs. Ball outside, 3-0. You can tell that Tanner Babela is a bit rattled.
And, the runs will both go in as earned because technically it was credited a single and advance on an error. But when it's coupled with an error and 2-out damage, that's when it can get really frustrating.
And then there's a 4-pitch walk to Jack Hay. And none of those pitches were particularly competitive. Maybe that third one that was close to the outside corner.
You now worry if Babela's maybe a little bit too, I don't want to say jumpy, but you're scared to go inside the zone just because of how hard they've hit the ball. But now that you're past kind of maybe the top spots in this Bama State lineup, you got to make sure you're attacking guys. You don't want to get too comfortable just trying to nibble, because that's what Babela has done well all year, is pound that zone. If you're going to start to nibble, that's when you're going to have a lot harder of a time getting through the lineup.
Other games in the Southwestern Athletic Conference tonight. Texas Southern plays Arkansas Pine Bluff. Grambling State plays Southern. That's a big series. They actually have a doubleheader today. Florida A&M plays Mississippi Valley State. And, of course, BCU is here at Alabama State. So the Wildcats came in with an outside chance of getting that number 1 seed if they swept and Florida A&M dropped 2 games to Mississippi Valley. Unlikely to happen, especially the way this game has started, but still potentially a chance there. But the West Side, if you look at the standings, Texas Southern 17-6, Grambling State 2 games back on the loss side, 17-8, Prairie View 16-9, so they're right there, and Southern 4th place, 15-11, with a couple wins this weekend. They could jump into the top 3 as well.
Absolute bloodbath out on the West Side. We thought maybe it might get similar in the East with Alabama A&M trying to sneak up on Jackson State in the 4th spot, but just ended up falling out of it these last 2 weekends. So it's just pretty locked in, save for a little bit of seeding.
Babela goes back to the slider and gets a called strike against Kyler McIntosh, who popped out on the infield his first time up. Hay on first, 3 in the inning all with 2 outs on the back-to-back home runs. This time he went to the slider again and missed outside 1-1. Bottom of the divisions in the East, Alabama A&M 9-19, Mississippi Valley 3-25. 2 of those wins against Alabama A&M last weekend that really knocked the Bulldogs out of contention for that last spot. Chopped foul, and it's 1-2. Down on the West, Arkansas Pine Bluff 6-19, Alcorn State 5-23. Tanner Bocabella will try and settle down, get out of this inning, and allow his offense to go back to work. Misses down and in. 2-2. Again, you got to remember with the way that Jose Almazan has started this game for Alabama State, there is chances for the Wildcats to put some numbers on the board on the offensive side. And Bocabella rings up McIntosh with the slider that catches the outside corner. So he starts the inning with a strikeout. He ends the inning with a strikeout. But in between, a single, an error, and 2 home runs have given the Bama State Hornets a 3-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the third right here on the CatEye Network. To the bottom of the third we go. Wildcats find themselves looking at a 3-1 deficit after 2 home runs in the top of the inning. And some run support for Almazan. Wildcats scored 1 in the second after Manny Sufrane's single. Colton Olison RBI'd him home. We'll go back to the top of the order to start the third with Daniel Figueroa, who grounded out to short his first time up. And he watches a breaking ball upstairs for ball 1. It's Figueroa. Outside 2-0. We're talking about leadoff spot, Bryce, and the ability to walk and get on base by any means necessary. So important in the modern day baseball. 2-0 to Figueroa. He hits one high in the air to left field. Moving over Landry near the track and diving for it at the wall, and it's off the wall. Figueroa digging for third. He'll be in there with a stand-up triple. The wind just carried that over Landry's head. And he never found it.
Still down over there. Hasn't just now standing up. Is Landry. I don't know if he got shaken up a little bit running into the
He
wall.
completely crashed into the wall. He went a head over heels dive to try and get the ball at the track after he realized the wind was going to take it over his head.
But again, you see right there just how open the door is offensively for the Wildcats, because that's another piece of incredibly hard contact. Some of the hardest hit balls we've seen at the Jack all year against Almazan. You can make him pay early and often in this game. At the very least, you can get to the bullpen.
It'll be Garrett Shun, the RBI machine, with a runner on third and nobody out. And the first pitch from Almazan to the lefty is a foul away. Apologies for some of the tech issues we are having. We are working through it. We'll go radio style for now. 0-1 from Almazan. Grounded foul 0-2. You can tell that Chun is really chasing that RBI as he swung at 2 pitches that were upstairs and then away to the lefty. Almazan looking for his first strikeout. Here's the 0-2. And that one's hammered to right field. Moving over LaPrade. He watches it bounce over his head into the wall. So Chun does drive in Figueroa from third. Chun's trying to replace him. Here's the throw. Garrett Chun is safe. Back-to-back triples for Bethune-Cookman to start the bottom of the third. And it's 3-2.
Hard contact, hard contact, hard contact. That one wasn't hit quite as hard as Figueroa, but easily out of the gap where nobody can get to it. And again, it's really been hold your breath time the entire time that Almazan has been out there on the mound because the Wildcats are not missing anything. He's not missing bats. And when he's hitting bats, all the contact has been barreled up. That's another one. Great. Got the barrel of the bat onto the ball and put it out there into right center field.
So now here's Sergio Rivera. And Rivera mashes one to center. That's going to hang up in the air. Flores watches it go over his head and skip over the wall. It's a ground rule double. Scoring Chun from third, and we're tied at 3.
And I think that time, a little more of a misplay out there in center field. Thought he had the ball tracked. Not really excuse to make for the win there because I don't think it affected the trajectory of the ball there that much. But Flores just didn't get back on the ball soon enough, so he ended up chasing it, and that one ends up bouncing over his head.
Well, Bryce, I'll tell you what, the wind has moved from going right to left to going out kind of towards center, and I think the wind took it over Flores' head, just like it did with Landry for Figueroa's single earlier in the inning, or triple earlier in the inning.
Just a combination of that and just a late jump overall, getting to that ball. Thought maybe it would die in front of him, but it did not.
First pitch taken for a strike by Jose Gonzalez. The Wildcats have gone triple ground rule double to start this third inning. We are tied at 3 at the Jack. Still no movement in the Alabama State bullpen. Gonzalez watches one low and outside for ball 1. And I did say, when Alabama State hit those 2 home runs back-to-back in the last inning, I said, don't panic just yet, because Almazan hasn't looked fantastic on the mound for the Hornets. Here's the 1-1. Chopped softly right in front of home plate. Almazan will throw it away! Coming home from second is Sergio Rivera, and the Wildcats lead 4-3. It looked to be a simple play to first place, but who knows where the head of Almazan is at, and it completely overshot the first baseman.
And the issues compound as the bullpen starts to get going for Alabama State, maybe a little bit too late. Of course, you don't want to get it going too early with a weekend full of baseball in front of you, but when it hasn't been going right, when everything has been sent the other way and hard, not a whole lot you can do mentally.
And for the first time today, we hear the Daytona Magic chant.
A little creative borrowing from the Orlando Magic, of course. They picked that up, I don't know, 3 or 4 road trips back. Kind of similar to chants we hear in the last couple of years.
Manny Sufrain in the batter's box hit one hard out to right field for a single his first time up. Ended up coming around to score the Wildcats' first run of the game. There are still no outs in the third. The Wildcats have scored 3 runs. Manny fouls one straight back, 1-1. The first time I heard the Daytona Magic chant was at the Stetson game. And I didn't know what it was. I thought somebody in the crowd was singing the Orlando Magic victory song. I was very confused. I didn't realize it was us until you told me this afternoon. Here's the 1-1. Sufrain grounds it foul to the third base side, 1-2.
Yeah, Coach Hernandez approached our office about a couple of weeks ago. Had no idea what it was. Came to us to try to figure out what exactly was going on. And so we had to educate him a little bit on social media and the fantastic job that, of course, the Magic have done all year building that whole culture.
1-2 to Sufrain. Swing and a miss. Got him with the breaking ball. And the first out of the inning, first strikeout of the game for Almazan. Maybe that'll settle the Venezuelan down a little bit. Irvin Escobar bats now. Flew out to center field his first time up, but that was deep to right center. And Flores had to really track that one down. It allowed Sufrain to go to third, where he would eventually score. As he watches a fastball down the middle for strike one, Escobar. Starting in only his 27th game of the season, Irvin, because he has split time at catcher. And he hits one off the end of the bat, foul first base side. He's behind 0-2. Jorge Rodriguez, the other catcher that the Wildcats have put behind the plate. Amazon trying to get out of a sticky situation. 0-2. And he will drills one into the ground in the opposite batter's box. Jamal George had to go sprawling Sergei Bobrovsky style to keep that one from the backstop. Yeah, I got a hockey reference.
There you go. Had to drop
you.
into the butterfly there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice little job. Always tests the athleticism of your catchers at this ballpark. Fortunately, at Georgia Tech, we saw a bunch. Last year's SWAC tournament can bounce all the way back to the pitcher if you throw it a little wild. So don't have to worry about that quite as much.
But here it is a long way back there. 1-2. Off the end of the bat, foul territory, first base side. That'll go out of play. And the count will hold on Irvin Escobar. The Wildcats have scored 3 runs in the inning. They lead it 4-3. Figueroa led off with a triple to left field. Then Chun a triple to right field. Then Rivera a ground rule double to dead center. Then Gonzalez reached on an error. He's at first right now. Ground ball up the middle. Sliding stop by McIntosh. He flips to second for one. On to first. Not in time. So it'll be a fielder's choice. Escobar in at first. And Jose Gonzalez out on the base paths.
It was a nice job by McIntosh. Had to use the glove to just kind of flip it as high as he could up to Jenkins at second to get that first out.
And here's Fabo, who walked his first time up. Only walk of the game so far for Bethune-Cookman.
Haven't needed him. Hit the ball so hard, haven't had to go to him.
First pitch to him, 1 on, 2 outs now, again in the opposite batter's box. Fabo's got nothing to hit. His first walk was a 4-pitch walk.
And the more kind of walks you take like that, the more pitches to hit you're going to see. So feel free to keep the bat on the shoulders and stay disciplined.
Grounds one toward third, just goes foul into the BCU bullpen. And if you're Tanner Bocabello, right, you're sitting in the dugout watching this. 1, it gives you more time to recompose yourself to go out there in the next inning. And 2, it gives you confidence that you can pound the zone or you can work to contact because your offense is going to back you up and your defense is going to back you up too, as we've seen in the first couple innings if it doesn't go over the wall.
He's been on the other side of it plenty of times. The offense hasn't quite been there to pick him up consistently, but this is not proving to be one of those nights early.
A 1-1 to Fabo, low 2-1. A beautiful night here in Daytona Beach. We'll spin it a throwback to first. As the sun just sinks toward the western horizon, the floodlights turning on here as it's popped sky high behind second base. Jenkins will watch it into his glove to end the inning, but 3 runs on 3 hits, an error and 1 left. And we go to the 4th inning. Wildcats back on top, 4-3 here at the Jack on the CatEye Network. Welcome back to the Jack for BCU Baseball. We apologize for some of the issues we've been having. We've been having some internet issues here in the press box this evening. The broadcast is fine, but the Wi-Fi is giving us some fits, which is why the live stats and the video have not been where we would like them. We are working to get it fixed up, and we will be back to full functioning order momentarily. The Wildcats lead the Alabama State Hornets 4-3. After the Hornets played at 3 in the third, the Wildcats came back to also play at 3 in the bottom of the inning. As they added one from Manny Sufrain in the second, that's how we get our score. Jamal George, the catcher, leads off for Alabama State. Tanner Bocabello back on the mound, and he fires a fastball strike in there for strike number one. Bocabello going to have to recuperate a little bit after allowing those back-to-back homers in the third inning to Ali LaPret and Juan Cruz. George singled up the middle his first time up. He fouls one straight back, and it's 0-2. Jamal, just the sophomore, and he reminds me a lot of how Irvin Escobar was last year for this team. That's a great Jamal at the third base dugout as the first leadoff man to be aboard for the Hornets in this game. And that'll bring up Christian Lopez, who grounded into an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play back in the second. He's got Jamal George on first after his leadoff single with nobody out. He bunts it. Manny Sufrain will field it and throw to the covering Cook Molison. So the sack bunt works. Jamal George goes to second. Now there's a runner on one out. Hornets taking a page out of BCU's book. They get one on with nobody out. They're pretty much bunting every time. Doesn't matter who's up. Now here's Quentin Jacobs. Struck out his first time up. The first strikeout victim for Bocabello. Tanner deals. Breaking ball upstairs, ball one. As we believe we have restored the broadcast to full working order, so thank you for bearing with us. First of a 3-game set between the Wildcats and the Hornets. Breaking ball misses upstairs again from Bocabello. 2-0. Hornets won this series back in Alabama earlier this season, 2-1. They took the first 2 games, while the Wildcats won a slugfest on Sunday. Bocabello spins and throws it way over Olison's head and into center field. And not allowed Jamal George to get to third. That's way uncharacteristic. Bocabello.
And I had commenting on earlier. I haven't seen many, especially with the team. It's got to be smart. Maybe that one just throw the hand straight forward there. Throwing that high on accident. It's the mistakes. You could do nothing else for this wide time. Mid-act strikes. Throw strikes. And try to stay, keep your pitch count for the last 5 minutes. Biggest thing.
Wildcats leading this one 4-3, and it was almost 4-4. That one was ripped down the left field line by Quentin Jacobs. Now it's 2-1. Jamal George 90 feet away after singling to right, going to second on a sack bunt, then reaching third on an error by Bocabello. 2-1. That was one. Coming in from third, Jamal George will score. Racing to up second is Jacobs. He will be in there as the ball gets away. It rolls to Manny Sufrain over at first base, so it is a tie game at 4.
You can applaud the offense besides status. They both improve. But neither of these teams look ready from a mental mistake standpoint. ready for a swing. Maintain more composure. Because the other team's getting the bat on the ball as well as both sides have. Too many throwaways, too many offline throws, too many little things that can compound so quickly when you get to the next week. Got to clean it up.
It is 4-4. This one hit towards short. Double pump by Villafane. I didn't see the umpire. Is he out? Yes, he's out. Get Landry over at first. That was very close play. Now there's 2 away for Flores. Still for 2. Ground out second and slide out to left in his 2 plate appearances. He has Quentin Jacobs on second. And 2 outs. George singled the lead off the inning, was bunted to second, reached third on an error, and then scored on the Jacobs double. Well, his first pitch low by Babela, 1-0. There are definitely some jitters out there. Ground ball towards second. And it's going to be a 5-4 state lead as in from second comes Jacobs.
Shift. Call it is kind of both the Wildcats playing so far over in between first and second. No one is able to track that one down.
Now here's Ali LaPred. 5-4 Hornets. As he grounds one off of Babela's leg, and that's going to be everybody safe. Shufrain has to track it all the way into right field. Going all the way to third from first is Randy Flores. It's going to be an infield single for LaPred, and Tanner Babela now down as he took one hard off of his leg. And it is Murphy's Law inning for Bethune-Cookman. Anything that can go wrong has gone wrong.
I think that regardless of anything that's happened in this inning, that may be the end for Babela, regardless of the severity of the injury, at this point, you just have to hope it's just a big bruise. That one's off the knee. In that danger.
He's still down, being tended to by the athletic trainer. We hope Tanner is okay. Obviously, he is your Friday night starter and on tap to start the first tournament game on Wednesday. But he took that one hard off of his leg. A comeback from Ali LaPred. He is going to be helped to the dugout.
Putting pressure on that left leg. Not nothing. But pretty light. So we get to the dugout and just take it completely on about that leg. Now be a whole breath to hope everybody just just really have to hope that it's a lose. But regardless now. For this weekend, where it is important. What's going on?
We will have a new pitcher for Bethune-Cookman. He's going to get probably a fair amount of time to warm up. This just went from a game where you may be certain that Babela might give you 6-7 innings to now it's going to be a bullpen day, and this puts a ton of pressure on starting pitchers the next 2 days.
It will send it all. We'll see you get to Saturday without that. And really don't want to go in the side like this. Stay on. Especially in the common for what is on the line here. Wildcats need just one win this weekend to lock up the number 2 seed in the SWAC tournament. Play the number 3 seed from the West. I don't know who that is. Come tournament time on day 1, and would avoid Florida A&M until the finals. If they drop to the number 3 seed, they would play 2 out of the West and have to potentially face Florida A&M twice. And not for nothing, it's also a scenario where we drop off for play. That's the state's whether it's really, it's tough. If the Wildcats make their head, not staring down the barrel of the next sword. Stuff, just especially let's reset the Alabama State Hornets from a 5-4 lead. They scored 3 last inning on a back-to-back home runs by the Freddy Cruz. They've got 2 this inning. George led off with a single to left. Lopez bunted him over. Jacobs drove him in with a double. Then Landry grounded out. Flores singled to center. That scored Jacobs. And Fred back to single off the leg of Babela. Patrick Bork is now in a massive spot. With corners, 2 outs. 33. And here is 2 for 2, single to left, and homer to left center. And I think that pushes his batting average on the season over 4, which is absolutely good. Tough spot for Bork. The first pitch, a breaking ball, but this is inside. Patrick, a senior from Land O'Lakes, Florida, transferred from Barton College, and gets Cruz to swing and miss at a breaking ball down the way. Patrick Gork, a stranger to Volusia County, the former DeLand's son of the Florida Collegiate Summer League, on the inside, 2-1. Gork, one of the many Wildcats this season to come over from Florida State College at Jacksonville. Strike down the middle. I was about to bring that up. They went for the blue wave with the manta rays. It's a cool looking logo, and he gets a swing and miss from Cruz. Going to first to complete the putout is Escobar. The Wildcats will have 4 hits and strand 2. And we go to the bottom of the 4th. So the lead is back to the Hornets. After the 4, the count to 4. Get it back, Arthur. Get it back. James. I didn't know that. Why did you wait for it? I do like that, guys. New pitching.
Your attention, please. Alabama State. Number 8, Alex Burke. Alex.
That's
Burton.
all
That's tough.
That's fine. Maybe Schaefer gets a spot start.
That's rough.
We move to the bottom of the fourth. Wildcats down 5-4. It's been a topsy-turvy evening at the Jacks so far. And a new pitcher for Alabama State to start the fourth inning. Redshirt sophomore left-hander from Myers, Florida, Alex Burden. And he will get Colton Olison as the first man to face him. Olison has an RBI ground out his first time up with scored Manny Sufrain that gave the Wildcats a 1-0 lead back in the second, which is one lowered in. Burden, a transfer from South Florida State College, 54 innings, a 4.33 ERA. And the lefty deals low in 2. It's a completely different look from Almazan. And even though Almazan was getting hit pretty hard, he did have a little bit of velocity. Burden's just low and slow, and everything is breaking ball. 2-0. Fires one right down. Hornets kind of switching styles. Just a little weird. Not the barrel on Carlin's suit for this first week. That is 3-1 on Olison. But we talked briefly about earlier. He raised his batting average by about 100 points since he missed a couple of games with a hand injury. And he watched it strike, and it's 3-2. Bolton trying to start this inning off strong for the Wildcats. 3-2. Inside ball 4. Some walks. So a runner went to the Wildcats with nobody out there. Bring up Jenny Bufani, who grounded out third. It was a nice play by Lopez, who had to charge and then skipped it on a high. A little bit of confirmation that Bufani might be safe. That ended the second inning. He's got a chance to keep the wheel turning for the Wildcats. That's how you pick your boy. Try to put the runs in the pushing. Olison fakes like he's going. It will be a late strike call from pumped umpire Graham. Goes for Dustin Ragsdale at first, and Damian Gatling at third. 3 umpires. Fournier squares to bunt. Olison walks back to first base on the pickoff. All the way to jump back in front of figure your coaching line was a top hope. Getting through this and with a win. And then the rest of the weekend, Fournier pulls back the bunt, watches one outside, 1-1. Today at 7, tomorrow at 6, Saturday at 1. Schedule this weekend. A little bit different. We're used to following the normal college baseball schedule. This is on one upstairs, too. Jamie Viafania batting .302, starting his 20th game of the season. With only 7 ribbies. Again, he's been everywhere in the lineup. He's right off, he's been in the middle. He's kind of found home in the 9 spot here last time. We watch him upstairs 3.
Sun sets for Daytona Beach on a hot Thursday afternoon. 3-1. In there for strike two, so the second batter on the road to start this inning for Birdie. The count has gone full. But it's only going to get hotter. Highs in the mid to high 90s expected for this weekend. It's officially summer here in Florida. 3-2. Olson takes off. Swing and a miss. Here's the throw down to second. Colton is safe. So he finally strikes out. Olson down on the stolen base. Works about as well. Sack bunt. So there's one down and back to the top of the order with Daniel Babela, who rounded out in the short first time up, then lasered a trip to the left field wall back in the third. That was the start of the 3-run inning for the Wildcats. Triple ground rule bunt. Lefty to righty, Birdie will deal. And it's hit down the line and just foul. Nice approach by Figueroa trying to hit this one the other way. The shift is on as far as it can be. And second baseman Jenkins playing very close to the second base bag. Closed off. Oh, 1. This is outside 1-1. I realize I didn't bet you Birdie's numbers. He's got a 7.38 ERA. 39 innings pitched. His record is 3-1. And his 1-1, Colton Olson goes to third. Strike back down the middle and really stolen base for Colton. He was on third with one. And the 1-2.
First slide on that turf. 10 yards on this turf.
1-2 from Birdie. And strike from Paul, breaking the ball inside corner. Figueroa doesn't agree with it, but 2 straight strikeouts for Birdie coming in. Now Colton Olson's at third with 2 out. The rest of Birdie's numbers. He's allowed 40 runs on 44 hits, 32 earned. Striking out 28 and walking 26. 10 doubles. And opponents say playing batting. The first pitch to Garrett Chun is a ball. Garrett is 2 for 2 and double to right field and triple to right field. 1-0. Right back up. The base hit for Garrett Chun. This one from third. Top 5.
Good batters. Good results for Burden with Garrett Chun. Put that behind the boost of damage and 2 outs. Yeah, we both have a little juice on the other one.
We talked about Chun trying to chase down Jose Gonzalez with a team leading RBI. He's got 2 already. He's going to be checked back at first by Birdie. How difficult is it if you're a stealing team like the Wildcats are to have a lefty on the mound versus a righty?
I don't think it's really affecting it too much. Just how much the Steelers know.
Whoa, barely getting back is Garrett Chun as he really took a big leap. And that is the problem, right? You can get a jump like that on a righty and he doesn't know. You can just change his motion, pitch it over there, and you're out. The batter is Sergio Rivera. Squares to block, knocks it down the third base side. The catcher, George, will have no play in everybody's show. We talk a lot about pitching moves. What about batting moves?
That's really the problem. ABs we've seen from these Wildcats all year long. Later in the order, try to make so good. Be able to have that in the drop that down when you least expect it. Just textbook way more.
We're going to have a meeting on the mound here. This is Branch Close, the pitching coordinator. is going to talk to Burden. Close is in his first year as a volunteer assistant at Alabama State. Comes to the Hornets from Missouri St. Louis, and before that, Florida Southern. Or I'll be there in a couple weeks covering high school basketball at Florida Southern College. It's a nice campus down there in Lakeland. Just a quick conversation on the mound. Burden will go back to work. The Wildcats having the go-ahead run on second with Garrett Chun. The runner also at first with Sergio Rivera. One already in the inning. Olison bunted, stole, and scored on the single by Garrett Chun.
So you turn the fate to damage for Alabama State. Turn the tables and do it yourself, because it's as frustrating as 2-out runs are from a defensive standpoint. They do it.
Gonzalez rounded out his first time up, then reached on an error in the third, which allowed Sergio Rivera to come around to score. Right, because he technically well, not giving it RBI. That's something I'm always confused, even though I've watched baseball my entire life. He's got a chance here with Garrett Chun standing on second. And he watches a slider strike on the outside corner with 0-2. The rest of the Alabama State coaching staff, Clint Jameson is a grad assistant. He played here last year. Luke Clark is their associate head coach. And, of course, Jose Vasquez, head Hornet. 0-2. In the dirt. 1-2. Vasquez, of course, no stranger to this ballpark. Let's go, baby. VCU assistant coach.
Coach Hernandez.
Burden trying to get out of the inning and keep this game tied at 5. Here's a 1-2. Foul away. That time he came in on the hands of Gonzalez. There's a massive gaping hole on the first base side. Gonzalez can poke one the other way. As Jenkins, the second baseman, is playing behind second. 1-2 again. And he does go the other way on that to hit it for right field. Coming home around third is Garrett Chun. There will be no play at the plate. A Wildcats lead the game. It's an RBI for Jose Gonzalez in 60.
Got it down. First baseman number 16. Two plays.
See that tactical ability in the defense right there, really. In no man's land. Swing away, try and move the gas, players on the game to be able to go up to field like that when you see that opportunity. It's just such a mature guy.
Now here's Manny Sufrain with runners on the corners. Rivera went all the way to third on that single. Burden almost missed the catcher's glove. Jordan had to do some more acrobatics back there to keep it from the backstop. Sergio Rivera, no stranger to some clutch moments. Back against UNF earlier this year in a game the Wildcats won 2-1. He was responsible for both runs. Fouled straight back by Sufrain 1-1. Including a game-winning home run. Burden, a big stretch above his head before he comes set, and already some more work being done in the Alabama State bullpen. Once again, 2 down. Sufrain watches one outside for ball 2. That one almost looked like a beach ball. It was just creeping towards the plate real slowly. Something that if Burden misses his spot with a pitch like that, it could go in mile. 2-1. And it's popped sky high to shallow center. Flores will track it in the lights, and he makes the catch to end the inning. The Wildcats go back on top. 2 runs, 3 hits on 2 down. We go to the 4th inning. It is 6-5.
However, 3-5.
So that takes it
Weird, yeah. Well, I think you're hearing a lot of PA announcer. I think because I had the mic. Yes, it does sound muffled. Yeah, that's weird. I haven't. No, that's just our ears.
I haven't touched it.
I haven't touched anything. Oh, they can still hear.
Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. It is a seesaw battle here at the Jack. Wildcats lead 6-5. Patrick Gork begins his first full inning of work after coming in for the injured Tanner Babela. Jack Hay is his first assignment. There's 2 pitches, unfortunately, are balls from Patrick Gork. Gork's numbers on the season, he's got a 4.43 ERA in 14 appearances. Catches the outside corner 2-1. 1 save on the year for Gork. He's got 20 innings pitched. He's given up 11 runs on 14 hits, 10 earned, striking out 19, walking 18. That one's chopped foul, first base side 2-2. Opponent's batting .299 against. As we've said, Bryce, it's up to this bullpen to try and turn this around. Misses upstairs with it, and it's 3-2.
But see, now you're in a good position to throw your best guys, to really try to anchor it down. But hopefully you can add some insurance. 1 run's a little tight.
And ball 4. Up and out. Didn't miss by much, but Jack Hay is aboard. We've said multiple times this year the most important stat is strikeout to walk ratio, and Patrick Gork is now at even 500, 19 strikeouts, 19 walks.
Which is probably somewhere middle of the pack when it comes to the SWAC, because so many, it's the opposite, more walks than strikeouts, especially in the lower end of bullpens.
Bunting it foul. First pitch is Kyler McIntosh. He's 0 for 2. Popped out to third base in the second, struck out looking to end the third. But this kind of game, back and forth, offenses on top, kind of favors Alabama State. That one's bunted foul again, first base side, so it's 0-2. Because looking at their pitching numbers via offensive numbers, they've been in games like this all season long. Whereas the Wildcats, a lot of low-scoring games, got games won by the pitching and maybe just scratching across a run here or there.
And in that respect, I think it's a good way to prepare for next week, because that may be the kind of game you'll have to get in, especially with some of these West teams that hit the ball so hard. A little update on Tanner Babela, who was just offered crutches by the training staff down there and didn't take them. He walked over.
0-2? That's a big strikeout for Patrick Gork. Went with the off-speed down and in. And Kyler McIntosh fanned on it. His second strikeout of the game. Second strikeout for Patrick Gork. And there's 1 on with 1 away. Here's Jamal George, who's 2 for 2 with 2 singles.
And so Babela was able to walk gingerly, but walked basically the length of the dugout, up the dugout steps to that backside. He's now using the crutches to stand upright, but at the very least was able to put enough pressure to walk down there. So
First pitch, a ball outside to Jamal George, and we'll know more in tomorrow's broadcast. We'll talk to Johnny after the game and before the game tomorrow. Again, we hope that Tanner Bocabello is all right. He took a line drive comebacker off of his leg. Slider strike 1-1 to George. Jamal singled up the middle in the second, was caught in the middle of a double play to end the inning. Then lined a single to left as the count's 2-1 in the fourth, and eventually came around to score on the Quentin Jacobs double. Rourke lasers a fastball that's sent drilled back the other way, and that's going to hop to the wall and over the wall. Ground rule double for Jamal George. He's 3 for 3.
That does save a run, thanks to the ball bouncing over that wall out there. Almost no doubt that Hayes scores if it doesn't, especially with the way they kind of stuck close to the wall off the bounce. Both of these teams have done one thing consistently, and that's hit the hard stuff hard. Fastballs both ways have been crushed on both sides just about all night. Saw when Burden came in for Alabama State last inning that some of the off-speed gave the Wildcats a little bit of trouble for a couple of batters, but they have taken fastballs the other way consistently.
The batter is the third baseman Christian Lopez, grounded into a double play in the second, then sacrifice bunt in the fourth. First ball in the dirt. Gork's got 2 strikeouts in 4 batters, but he's also walked one and given up that ground rule double. And he goes with the off speed again, misses it. Outside 2-0. I think the message to Patrick Gork was the same as Bocabello. You just got to pound the zone and try and let your defense do the job here. Wildcats still lead at 6-5. And that one is hit to the left side for a base hit. That's going to be a 2-run single. And going to second on the throw home is Lopez. It's 7-6. This is a wild one here at Jackie Robinson tonight.
Yeah, very easily maybe whoever gets the bat last is going to win this game, as neither side has shown any signs of stopping the bats for either team.
And that was maybe the weakest bit of good contact we've seen from the Hornets. Just a little bloop over the shortstop Villafañe's head into left field. Here's Quentin Jacobs, struck out in the third, doubled and scored in the fourth, and he's got Lopez on second with 1 out and 2 already in. It's 7-6. Gork fastball in there for a strike. Looking at Alabama State's schedule this year. Here's the 0-1. Fastball misses outside 1-1. They have put up some crooked numbers. Beat Valparaiso 16-5 and 9-1. Lost to Prairie View in a non-conference game 13-12 in extra innings. And then, of course, had that big win at Auburn, their big non-conference high major win. But that was right before they played the Wildcats the first time. Gork behind 2-1 to Jacobs. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Whenever Gork goes off speed in on the hands, that's when it seems like the Hornets are having some issues hitting it, as it's 2-2. In the first series between these two teams, the Hornets won 5-4 and 9-4 before the Wildcats won 14-11 in the last game of the series, and that one skips over the head of the catcher Escobar, while pitch means Lopez is now 90 feet away on third base. In the last conference series before this one for Alabama State, they took the opener at home to Florida A&M, but dropped their last 2 games, 7-5 and 12-3, before they also had a canceled midweek game against UAB. The Wildcats were scheduled to play UCF on Tuesday. That game called off because of rain. The 3-2 chop foul will do it again.
Small update on Bocabello. He has officially been taken out of the stadium, headed to the ER for x-rays. So We'll likely hear back on those results late tonight or tomorrow. So we'll be sure to update everybody. But he is out of the dugout.
Cork's 3-2. Fouled away again. Still just one out in the inning. The McIntosh strikeout, the second batter that Gork faced. And the Wildcats have an arm in the bullpen. But this is a game where you feel that no lead is safe. Swing and a miss. Gork goes downstairs again and gets his third strikeout. Every out that Patrick Gork has gotten has been his strikeout.
And he's certainly got the stuff to get swings and misses like that. Good mix of being able to go with the high fastball or go down low like that. You want to be careful if you're going for the strikeouts like that to not let it compromise the way that you're primarily pitching to contact, trying to let your defense work.
Here's Isaiah Landry, first pitch, low ball one. Landry singled in the third, reached second on a throwing error, and scored on the Ali LaPred home run. And then in the fourth, he grounded out to short. Watches one low, 2-0. Gork has been having to battle back from some poor counts.
First pitch strikes are so important, especially in this conference, the way the games are played.
That time he gets one at the knees, 2-1. It's a motorcycle or some loud car goes by. 2-1, grounded softly towards third and foul, 2-2. So Gork a chance to get out of it. 2 in the inning for Alabama State. They lead at 7-6. In a topsy-turvy game. We got through the first 2 innings in maybe 10 minutes. There's a strike 3 call. Curveball catches the inside corner. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Gork, but other than that, it's 2 runs on 2 hits and 1 left on. We go to the bottom of the 5th, 7-6 Hornets here on the CatEye Network. The pitcher for Alabama State as we go to the bottom of the 5th. It's a 7-6 lead for the Hornets. Only 1 inning out of Burden as he gave up 2. And Irvin Escobar will face Austin King, the sophomore from Trussville, Alabama. A returner from last year, King. He's a big, tall righty, and he winds and fires, got good velocity on that one. He crosses the zone for strike 1. King on the season, a 5.31 ERA. 0-2 with 12 appearances, 1 start. Comes off speed, and Escobar lofts it in the air to right field. LaPred makes the catch, 1 down. We haven't seen a lot of that in the last couple of innings, maybe even since the second. The soft fly ball.
Might take a few batters to adjust to a little bit of a style change again, going back to maybe a little bit more hard stuff than we saw from Burden an inning ago. But the Wildcats have just barreled up everything tonight, so.
The rest of King's numbers, 20 innings pitched. He's given up 18 runs on 21 hits, 12 earned, given up 16 strikeouts and 10 walks, 4 doubles, and an opponent batting average of .263. The batter is Jorge Gonzalez. Fabo, he's behind on the count 0-1. Fabo walked in the second and popped out on the infield in the third. Upstairs, 1-1. King listed at 6'4". And he's an imposing figure on the mound. And that one's right back up the middle. A base hit for Fabo. Second time on base for Jorge today.
The more contact like that, the better for Fabo. Just not that uppercut swing. Just taking the ball right back the way it came through the middle.
And now here's Colton Olson. RBI ground out in the second that scored Manny Sufrain. That opened up the scoring. And then he walked, stole second, stole third, and came home on the Garrett Chun single in the fourth. Pitch low, ball 1. Fabo got a pretty big jump over at first. George popped up but didn't attempt to throw him out. King last year, 15 appearances with a .559 ERA, 19 strikeouts with 7 walks for Alabama State. And his 1-0 is a fastball outside 2-0. Not sure where that missed, but again, our angle's not the best. We're basically exactly where the camera is. Wildcats trail by 1, 7-6 in the fifth. Upstairs 3-0 from King. And we may see the bullpen carousel continue on both sides tonight if both teams continue hitting the ball like they have been. King's 3-0 to Olson. Right down the middle. And obviously Colton Olson didn't agree because he was halfway to first. Long looking from King for this 3-1. Runner goes. Olson hits it high in the air to left. Moving in Landry. He makes the catch. Fabo has to retreat to first, and there's 2 away. Now Colton kind of shaking his head as he walks back to the dugout. He thought he should have had a walk, and he just ends up popping out. With 2 away, here's the 9-hole hitter, Jamie Villafañe, 0 for 2. Ground out to third in the second and struck out in the fourth. He's got Fabo on first with 2 outs. First pitch to him. Fastball strike down the middle. And King has done what Burden didn't, which is consistently put the ball in the strike zone.
With that fastball that he has, it's easy to see how that could give a team like BCU some trouble.
0-1 in the dirt. Nice job by George behind the plate. It's got a little tail to it, the fastball. It almost looks like a slider-ish, but it doesn't move until way late, and it just tails away from the right-hand hitters. As full night has fallen here at the Jack. Wildcats trying to even this one up. And they're not going to do it on that swing as Villafañe misses 1 and 2.
Behind that pitch. Might be the hardest velocity-wise pitch that anybody has featured for Bama State yet tonight. So Wildcats still trying to figure out how to catch up with it.
King trying to get out of the inning. Fabo goes. Here's the throw down to second, and he's out. Fabo not the fastest guy in this Wildcats roster. Didn't get a great jump. The throw from George was there, and that's the end of the inning. No runs, 1 hit, and nobody left on. We go To the sixth, Wildcats will try and maintain this one-run deficit, 7-6 Hornets here on the CatEye Network. The former USF Bull, Dylan Vega, takes over on the mound for Bethune-Cookman as we go to the sixth inning. Wildcats down 7-6 to the Alabama State Hornets, needing just one win this weekend to lock up second place in the SWAC East heading into the tournament next week. It'll be 1-2-3 for Alabama State in this half inning. Randy Flores, the leadoff man, will step in. Grounded out in the first, flied out in the third, single to center in the fourth. RBI style to score Quentin Jacobs. So fourth time through the order for Alabama State. And the first two pitches miss for Dylan Vega. Vega with a 4.91 ERA, 20 appearances, no starts, 2 saves. He's 1-2. And he throws one down the middle, 2-1. Vega, 33 innings pitched. He's given up 23 runs on 35 hits, just 18 earned, striking out 21, walking 13. Giving up 9 doubles, 2 triples, a homer, with an opponent batting average of 278. Fouled away, and it's 2-2. So the senior from Brooklyn, New York, hits one right back up the middle, and it's going to be a base hit. A big turn at first from Flores, and he is aboard. The Wildcats just can't seem to catch a break from a pitching standpoint this evening.
You know, as we head into the tournament next week, I don't think we have as clear of a picture from a bullpen standpoint of what the ideal bullpen game from Bethune-Cookman would be. Last year, it was pretty clear. You had Yohan Gonzalez as the closer, and you had some combination of Dale Machad and Pablo Torres as your 1A, 1B when it came to the setup man. But I'm not entirely sure who the first person out of the pen would be for Bethune-Cookman yet this year.
Spinning a throwback to first. Flores in there safely as the batter is Ali Lepred. Lepred flied out to left in the first, then hit a towering home run that just snuck inside the left field pole in the third, and then singled in the fourth. That was the single that went off of Babela's leg and chased Tanner from the game. Ali, the graduate student from Duluth, Georgia, started his college career at USC Upstate. That's South Carolina Upstate, not California Upstate. And a third straight spin and a throwback. And Flores is in there safely. I'm not sure how you would have a University of Southern California Upstate.
Is that a real place, or did you make that up?
I made that up.
I was about to
because
ask. I was going to ask between breaks so that I didn't say it on air, but I hadn't heard that one either.
I don't know, because when you say USC, you've got to clarify. Here's the pitch, upstairs, ball one, because especially here in the Southeast, you never know.
A tough go for that athletic department at USC Upstate. Hard place to win with so much competition in the state, around the area. Former A-Sun member.
You could probably say that about any school in the state of Florida as well. Here's the 1-0. Whoa! Swing and a miss. The bat flies out of LaPred's hands. Daniel Gaviria had to duck and cover as he's playing ball boy tonight down in the corner. And he looks a little bit shaken up as that one went over his head.
You always got to pay attention at the ballpark. Fan, player, ball boy, coach, passerby. That one, like you said, nearly took his head off.
Yep. LaPred played in 42 games last year. Hit .371 with 10 home runs. This year he's batting .330 with 13 home runs. So not as good on the average, but the power is still there for LaPred. And for how good this ASU team was this year, last year, set program records in 9 statistical categories. Another check over to first. Flores in there safely after his leadoff single. Batting average, hits, doubles per game, home runs per game, runs scored, and slugging percentage. I wonder how this year stacks up. Might have to do some research. That one is hit in the air to left field. Shun watches it into his glove for out number 1.
Yeah, make no mistake about it with this Alabama State team. Third seed or not, I don't think anybody's going to get too excited to play Jose Vasquez's squad as you haven't been for several years with him at the helm, especially with how well they hit the ball.
On last year, they just kind of got stifled in the semifinals by Florida A&M, who had to come from the losers bracket to beat the Hornets. The same way that Bethune-Cookman came from the lower bracket and beat Grambling State twice to get to the championship game last year.
Yeah, that's maybe the one thing you can't do come tournament time next week is you really need to avoid dropping to the losers bracket. I mean, it seems obvious to say just win games, but if you drop into that losers bracket, it is a tough hill to climb to win the thing. We saw it in softball, even in Gulfport last week when the Wildcats went down in the first game that they played. You have to battle back through double headers, through some rough start times. It's not fun.
Finally, a first pitch to Juan Cruz. He pops it up behind second base. The shortstop, Jamie Villafane, will make the catch, and there's 2 away. And I'm sure the Wildcats are happy to see the back end of Juan Cruz, who singled in the first, homered in the third. He's been set down 2 straight times, a strikeout, and now a pop-out. Cruz, just the freshman, the former Apopka Blue Darter from around these parts. Was at Alabama State last year, chose to redshirt. And they continue pounding the glove of Manny Sufrain over there at first to try and get Randy Flores, who's not really leading off at all. He's just kind of standing there 2 steps from the bag.
Not that dissimilar from what we see when the Wildcats are on base, is they don't even necessarily have to lead off. You just know how likely it is for them to take off.
Here's Jack Hay at the plate, watches the ball outside. Hay is 0 for 1 with 2 walks. Grounded out to end the first, then walked in the third, walked and scored in the 5th on the single by Christian Lopez. That was a 2-run single by Lopez and gave the Hornets their current 7-6 lead. As Dylan Vega bounces one to the plate, he's behind 2-0. And just like Patrick Gork, Vega has had trouble finding the strike zone early in counts.
And at any level of baseball, that first pitch strike is a long way. I saw a statistic recently. I don't remember the exact numbers, but the difference in the outcome of an AB based on whether or not the first pitch is strike.
There's a swing and a miss. Throw down to second. And when the ball gets away and they've got Flores in a rundown, they'll tag him out. So whether he was out at second, doesn't matter. I thought he was out at second, but he's out at third anyway, and the inning is over. So no runs, 1 hit, nobody left. And we go to the bottom of the 6th, 7-6 Hornets here on the CatEye Network. A strange way to end an inning. Jamie Villafane leads off the bottom of the sixth for the Wildcats by virtue of standing in the batter's box when Jose Gonzalez-Fable was caught stealing to end the fifth. He'll face a new pitcher, Johan Leboy, for Alabama State. So just one inning for each of the three relief pitchers for the Hornets so far. Burden went one, King went one, and now here's Leboy. Sophomore from Puerto Rico, Leboy. Villafane is 0 for 2, grounded out to third and struck out in his two plate appearances. He watches a fastball for strike one. Leboy on the season used more of a starter than a reliever. Has a 4.61 ERA, 15 appearances, 13 starts with one complete game. Breaking ball slashes through the zone 0-2. And one save as well. 80 innings pitched at the most on the staff. Giving up 53 runs on 93 hits. Here's the 0-2 to Villafane. Bounce to the plate, 1-2. 58 strikeouts for Leboy, just 26 walks, allowed 20 doubles, 5 triples, 5 homers with opponent batting average of 290, 1-2. Fouled away, we'll do it again. This is an interesting strategic move by Coach Vasquez, throwing what is maybe your top starter in a relief role on Friday night. I guess they know how important each game of this series is.
He's been their Saturday guy for most of the year. Just like you said, a couple of relief appearances.
Strike three called as a fastball caught the inside corner of Villafane. Down looking, his second strikeout of the game. And we're back to the top of the order for Daniel Figueroa. Figueroa grounded out to short in the first, tripled to left in the third, struck out in the fourth. And now he is playing Leboy, or facing Leboy. I think the strategy, as there's a sword on a swing and miss strike one from the Bama State coaching staff, is we need every game. We have an advantage here. If we lose tonight, the rest of the series doesn't matter. Let's throw our best arm right now and try and close this one out.
And at the same time, Leboy was hit pretty hard when Cookman was at their place.
Fouled away 0-2 by Figueroa.
Back on April 13th. He went 5 innings, allowed 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 11 hits in 5 innings. So the Wildcats saw him pretty well. And I wonder what that means for the Friday night starter tomorrow. You may very well be right, just trying to take this game.
In the dirt, 1-2. Leboy was on this Hornets squad last year. 25 appearances, 3 starts, 2-3 with a 5.12 ERA. So much improved this season is Leboy, and he's been rewarded with more consistent mound time. 1-2, and he hit him. Just lost control of that slider, did the lefty, and came in and hit Figueroa. So Daniel continues to lead the hit by pitch rankings on this Wildcat squad. There's one aboard with 1 out.
20 hit by pitches for number 20. Looking at Leboy's stats some more. Twice he's come out of the bullpen on a midweeker following a 5-inning start. The shortest of that rest was from April 6th to April 9th, where he tossed an inning at Auburn. Again, might be a similar situation where they were up in the game, just trying to take the win.
First pitch low and away to Garrett Shun, who's had the best night of any Wildcat. 3 for 3, a double, a triple, a single, 2 runs scored, and 2 RBI.
A good guy to try to get hot before the trip to Atlanta next week.
And a big hole to the first base side if Chun can find it. But he swings and misses at a 1 low and away, and it's 1-1. You can tell why Leboy is the Hornets' most used arm this season. Very consistent action, consistently in and around the strike zone. 1-1, catches the outside corner with the fastball 1-2, and he's gotten ahead in every count so far, something the Wildcat relievers have not been able to do. Lefty to lefty, the 1-2. LeBoy checks the runner at first and deals. Ground ball towards second base. Jenkins will just go to first base for the fielder's choice. So Figueroa advances to second, and there's 2 away for Sergio Rivera.
And to continue looking into the LeBoy decision for Alabama State, it does make things a little easier for you if you're the Wildcats, seeing as you may not necessarily have to face him as a starter tomorrow or potentially Saturday. Of course, I could be wrong. He could very well come out there tomorrow night or maybe sneak one in on Saturday after a day's rest, but may make that hill a little easier to climb if you do drop it tonight.
Rivera lines one to left field and deep. Back and making the catch is Landry on the move to end the inning. Good contact from Sergio, just held up a little bit. I thought that one was going to be a little bit harder hit towards the gap than it actually was. No runs, no hits, 1 left, and we go to the 7th. Wildcats still looking at a 1-run deficit, 7-6 here on the CatEye Network. Jack Hay will lead off for the Hornets. He was in the box when Flores was caught stealing to end the 6th. Dylan Vega still on the hill for the Wildcats, trying to stay in this game. An offensive slugfest for your Thursday evening. First pitch, a fastball low. 7 runs on 12 hits for Alabama State. 6 runs on 10 hits for the Wildcats, but BCU has made 2 errors to the Hornets 1. Big cut and miss. Actually, a foul tip that caught Escobar below the padding on his right leg, and it's 1-1. Some scores from around the Southwestern Athletic Conference. No score from Texas Southern Pine Bluff. Not sure if they played that game at all. Listed as TBA on the SWAC website. Prairie View A&M beat Alcorn 20-13. No, that is not a football score.
That is Alcorn State baseball at its finest.
1-1 inside 2-1. Jackson State beats Alabama A&M 8-7. So putting more pressure on the Wildcats to potentially maybe play that makeup game at the end of the weekend. 2-1. Down the middle, 2-2. Grambling State beat Southern in the most lopsided game of the day, 19-4 in 8 innings. And Mississippi Valley State dropped to Florida A&M 7-3. So if the Wildcats fall tonight, there's a nice strikeout from Dylan Vega in on the hands with a fastball and gets Hay down swinging. But yeah, if the Wildcats end up falling tonight, that puts the number 1 seed out of reach because FAMU won tonight. Grambling State and Southern were supposed to play a doubleheader. The second game of that doubleheader was canceled, so not sure what that means for the weekend schedule.
I'll have to check on that. I very well may be a SWAC schedule quirk. Have to do with uploading things to the website. May not have been a true scheduled doubleheader.
Here's Kyler McIntosh watches a slider tail into the zone for strike 1. McIntosh 0 for 3, the only Hornet to not reach base so far tonight. A pop out in the second and then 2 strikeouts. And just as I say that, he rips one to left center field. Long run for Figueroa, but he tracks it down to make the catch.
And that's why it's so important that you can never be afraid to work to contact us, because that's a well-hit ball deep into the gap. But Daniel Figueroa is so fast, and that combination of him in center, Rivera in right, and then Chun in left, they can run down a lot of baseballs that maybe some outfields may not be able to. So you can't be scared of the fly ball for some of these relievers in this BCU bullpen. So it was a scheduled doubleheader for Southern Grambling State. I'm not sure.
Big first pitch, a swing and a miss to Jamal George, who's had one of the better days on this Hornets lineup. 3 for 3, 2 singles, a ground rule double, an RBI, and 2 runs scored for George, the catcher, as he watches a fastball outside 1-1.
So it was a Thursday, Saturday schedule for Southern. And
Interesting. So maybe they'll play one tomorrow.
maybe might have been moved to today for rain, and maybe the rain got there a little too quickly. Not sure.
Inside, forcing George to skip back, 2-1 the count. So we'll see. That series does have a lot of importance for us here because it depends on who we play in the first game of the tournament. And it's Dylan Vega. Another big swing and a miss forced by Jamal George. And the count is 2-2. Already 2 outs here in the 7th. Wildcats have not sat down the Hornets 1-2-3 in the game so far. Outside doesn't get the call. 3-2. And if I'm Vega, I may have wanted to attack on a 2-2 count instead of now having to force it here on 3-2. Here's the pitch to George. George grounds it to short. Deep in the hole via Fournier. In time to first. And the Wildcats get the Hornets to go 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Wildcats looking for some offense, down by 1 here on the CatEye Network. Johan Leboy is out for his second inning of work as we hit the bottom of the 7th. Thank you for sticking with us here on the CatEye Network. First of a 3-game set Thursday, Friday, Saturday to close out the regular season. Jose Gonzalez will lead off the inning. He'll watch a breaking ball in on the hands. I was walking down memory lane this afternoon getting ready for the series and remembered how the Wildcats secured that 2 seed last year with a walk-off home run by Robert Moya against Jackson State. That was the middle game of the series on Friday night. Count is 1-1. And it's chopped slowly towards third. Lopez will throw across, 1 down.
Robert Moya, of course, down at Florida Gulf Coast now enjoyed the best offensive performance in Eagles history in a single game. They beat FAU 28-18. Very real baseball score, not made up. He had 3 home runs in that game.
Yeah.
14 total bases. A guy that Coach Hernandez very much wanted to keep with this program.
Here's Manny Suffrain, and he got hit. They'll keep that on-base percentage pretty high. Manny Suffrain will go to first base. Suffrain singled in the second, came around to score, then struck out in the third, popped up in the fourth, and now is hit by a pitch.
And that was a scary hit by pitch for Manny Suffrain standards. In on the hands. I don't know if it hit his wrist or somewhere on his forearm, but if no other reason to try to steal this one here tonight, down 7-6, maybe put some of these guys on ice for the rest of the weekend.
And something I didn't get to ask Coach Hernandez, because I didn't talk to him this afternoon before we started as Irvin Escobar stands in, is there any rust? Because they've had 2 straight games canceled. They haven't played in 6 days. Escobar drills one foul, 0-1.
Certainly offensively, you wouldn't say there was any rust left over with how quickly things opened in this one. And really, it doesn't affect Babela as far as his turn through the rotation.
Breaking ball into the zone, 0-2 on Escobar. So many of batters that face Lavoie and find themselves down 0-2 after 2 pitches. It just gives the pitcher so much room to work with. But that time it's drilled back up the middle for a base hit. Suffrain's going to try and get to third. He's in there as the throw goes up the line, and Irvin Escobar keeps the wheels turning, and there's runners on the corners with 1 down.
And I don't think there's anyone more excited in America to get to Atlanta next week than Irvin Escobar, who hit nearly 600 in the SWAC tournament last year. And if he's going to start swinging the bat like that, Coach Hernandez is going to have quite the decision on who's going to play, who's going to start the series at that catcher spot.
And here is Fabo now. Gonzalez Fabo walked in the second, popped up to end the third inning, and then singled through the middle in the fifth and was caught stealing to end that inning. And we're going to have a runners conference. You can't call it a pitchers conference because it's between the runners. Everybody's over there, even Colton Olison, who's on deck right now. So they might be talking about maybe some bunt shenanigans to try and squeeze in a run. At this point, I think you got to get that run from third in no matter what.
Could, of course, look at the always dangerous possibility of a double steal. It may be as simple as with Gonzalez Fabo up to bat. You got the freshman still very much trying to kind of learn his way around things at the D1 level. That may just be kind of trying to make sure that his swing and his approach is where it should be. But
the problem with that double steal is your lead runner is Manny Suffrain, who's, along with Fabo, maybe one of your slower guys on the team. Right? I remember it. I think it was against Alabama A&M. They tried the double steal with A.J. Smith on third, and Smith was home before the ball got to second base. And they might be pitching out Fabo here to load the bases.
that would be an interesting decision. But we'll see. Especially with Colton Olison up next, who's had a knack for the clutch in his BCU career.
Now, those pitch to Fabo. That first pitch must have just been missed by LeBoy. Swing and a miss from Fabo, and it's 1-1. And if you're Jorge Gonzalez Fabo, I think the worst thing you can do is strike out here. Put the ball in play, maybe force the defense to make a mistake or a judgment call. Check swing, but it's in the zone. And it's 1-2. The Wildcat dugout not happy with that.
I wonder, too, if the pre-at-bat meeting had to do with maybe under what circumstances do we try the double steal? If he gets down in the count or something similar, do we then maybe try it? Now down 1-2. Still probably be ill-advised no matter when you try it.
LeBoy deals. Runner goes to second. That's a foul ball down the left field line. Fabo got all of it, was just a little bit in front.
And I think you might have seen what I had mentioned prior to that pitch is now that Gonzalez Fabo down in the count with the potential of going down on strikes. Saw them maybe flirt with the double steal there, but it was going all the way. Escobar was trying to steal instead of, stopping between the bases.
1-2. Escobar goes again. It's a strikeout. George will hold the ball. Escobar goes to second. And the pressure cooker is on for Colton Olison. Second and third, 2 out, a chance to tie or potentially take the lead here. For the senior playing his final home series. First pitch to him. Breaking ball, inside corner, strike one. Olison in the contest. An RBI ground out of the second, walked and scored in the fourth, as well as stealing 2 bases, then flied out to left in the sixth. Game on a knife edge right now. And he grounds one softly down the third base line, but foul, and he is down 0-2 in the count. I think if that stays fair, maybe Spring scores, because the defense was scrambling.
Olson did go over 3 the last time that the Wildcats faced LeBoy in Montgomery.
Here in the bottom of the seventh, tying run 90 feet away. 2 outs in the inning, the 0-2 pitch to Olison as time is called. And now it's on the arm of LeBoy. And the Puerto Rican deals. Strike 3 called outside corner. Olison, confused and bewildered. He thought that one was a ball. The umpire didn't see it that way, and the Hornets get out of a jam. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. And the Wildcats still with their backs against the wall as we go to the 8th here on the CatEye Network. We go to the 8th. Wildcats still down 7-6. Has a great chance in the bottom of the 7th. Went begging as LeBoy got 2 straight strikeouts to strand 2 runners. It'll still be Dylan Vega on the hill for Bethune-Cookman. He'll face Christian Lopez. First pitch up and in. Lopez grounded into an inning-ending double play in the second. Sack bunt in the fourth, and then singled to left to bring home both Hay and George. Ended up being stranded there, and this time he pokes it the other way, singles to right. So Vega will not repeat his 1-2-3 performance from last inning. And that'll bring up Quentin Jacobs with nobody out and 1 on. Jacobs, a double and a run scored in the fourth, sandwiched between a strikeout in the third and fifth. Again, not the end of the world if the Wildcats are not able to come back tonight. Still got 2 more chances to pick up that win. Bunted, first base side. Sufrain will pick it up. Throw to Olison, who's covering for the sac bunt.
Nice approach by Bama State, just trying to put some insurance runs on, so not trying to do too much at the plate. Trying to set them up for success, grab one more.
But as you said, Bryce, you don't want to get to Sunday down 0-2 in the series, and now you're having to win the last game of the year to secure that number 2 seed.
If that's the case, it's going to be real tight in that Bethune-Cookman clubhouse. Real tight.
First pitch to Isaiah Landry. Spin and an attempt to throw back to second, and nobody was there covering the bag. Sac bunt does take away the potential double play. And that one's grounded towards short. Could have been a double play, but Villafane bobbles it. E6, everybody's safe, and runners on the corners with 1 down.
And maybe wisely there for Villafane, just sitting on it once he had managed to knock it down. Such a hard hit ball, really tough to track down. Kind of one of those tough luck errors. Did hit off the glove, so it is scored an error. But a much tougher play than maybe it seems on paper. Could have tried to be the hero and try to chuck it across the diamond to first to try to get that out on a bang-bang play, but wisely just sits on it.
Now we're back to the top of the order with Randy Flores. Flores 2 for 4, grounded out in the first, flied out in the third, singled up the middle in the fourth, singled up the middle in the sixth, and then was caught stealing to end the inning, swinging the throw back to first. That's a tough choice to make. A right-handed pitcher spinning and throwing to first when there's a runner on third. Ball gets away, and it's a 2-run ASU lead here. As Vega deals, outside ball 1.
The throw over in general is, especially for the right-handers, is it's frustrating to watch, especially when they do it multiple times. It's been a big focus of this Wildcats pitching staff all year.
Outside again to Randy Flores. Flores, the senior from Brooklyn, New York. Playing his college baseball a long way from home, but he watches one in the dirt. He's ahead 3-0. First team all SWAC last year. He hit .366 and led the SWAC in stolen bases with 38, 5th in the NCAA. This year, 28 stolen bases on 29 attempts, by far the leader on the team, as we're going to have a meeting on the mound. Player-led, no coaches out there yet. But some arms getting loose for the maroon and gold, or the light blue-clad Wildcats tonight, as they've been wont to do on their Friday nights.
Yeah, a little mix of everything in that Wildcats bullpen, because if you go in front, it's Pablo Torres. If you don't, now again we get into that, well, you got the rest of the weekend, you got to have some arms, you got to have some guns to be able to go to if you do get up. It's such a, the whole weekend really, if you drop tonight, starts to get a little tight. You start to worry about, oh well, no, what do I have to save for tomorrow? What can we use tonight? What's our cushion that we're comfortable with to be able to take one? It's not going to be easy. You know, it's tough to already be thinking about the possibility of getting swept, but it's certainly in the back of their minds.
The 3-0 pitch from Dylan Vega is a strike down the middle, 3-1. Flores played his first 3 seasons of college ball at Franklin Pierce University, below the D1 level, and he walks, and the bases are loaded with 1 out. Landry will go to second. Flores on first, and Christian Lopez 90 feet away. I guess the walk, the one bright spot of the walk is it does bring the double play back into consideration. As here's Alan Lepred, who's had the big moment of the game, and that could be the end for Dylan Vega. Lepred flied out to left his first time up, then homered down the left field line in the third, singled off of Tanner Bocabello in the fourth, which caused him to go out with an injury and put the Wildcats in this bullpen situation, and then flied out to left again in the sixth. So Ali LaPred swinging a hot bat right now.
No call to the pen yet. I figured we would have seen one right now. I'd be, oh, well, and now I say that. And it will not be Pablo Torres. I was about to say that I'd be stunned if I saw him enter this game. So it may be Dale Machad instead. Still trying to come back from that early season injury.
Getting some work in before the tournament. Dale is one that could be very big come the SWAC tournament if he is healthy and able to give you some middle innings work. He's got that sidearm delivery that is a different look than what a lot of these SWAC teams have faced all year. He could throw some hitting rotations off for some of these SWAC schools, but this is an excellent preview almost of what we're going to get the SWAC tournament. You know, lots of bullpen arms in the game, lots of offense, especially when we get to Thursday or Friday. We're up to game 3 or 4.
And, you know, let's not forget either that you talk about Machad being that X factor is he had the best ERA on the team last year. And that's of a staff that had Yohan Gonzalez, relief pitcher of the year, and Nolan Santos, who goes on to the MLB draft and now working his way through the pro system. He was really good. It's not even just so much that he's a change of pace type guy. He's legitimately a back end of the bullpen type arm at this level. And he has only gotten a handful of innings so far to work his way back after missing all of the non-conference and the first 3 or 4 SWAC series on the year. But he has been a legit arm in his time here with the Wildcats. Not necessarily the flashiest, you know, he's not going to wow you with the velocity, but he's got some good off-speed stuff, good pitch mix, and that off-arm angle is enough that he's had a ton of success. So if he can come back at even 75% of what he was last year and the year before, that's a giant piece to add back to this Wildcats back end of the bullpen.
It's been tough for him this year. He did pitch against Alabama State in one of the losses, the 9-4 loss on Saturday. Pitched 2 innings, gave up 3 runs on 3 hits all earned, struck out 2, walked 2. Went a third of an inning against Miami, and then 1 inning against Jacksonville in the 11-0 loss. So he's spotting a 13.50 ERA, 3.1 innings pitched, 6 runs on 6 hits, 5 earned, striking out 3, walking 3, 3 doubles, 1 homer. He was in at the end of that Jacksonville game. He gave up the walk-off, quote-unquote, homer as the Dolphins beat the Wildcats by run rule. But he's got the bases loaded, 1 out, and he's facing Ali LaPred, and the first pitch is in the dirt. The one thing you cannot do is walk a guy. LaPred in the 3rd inning, towering home run, his 13th of the year. That leads the team and may lead the conference. I'll double check on that. It does indeed lead the conference. Second is Lenny Montesano of Jackson State. We know his power. 2-0. Now 3-0 as the ball was low.
No wiggle room now.
A shot in danger of walking a run, and he does. Threw it right to the backstop. A 4-pitch walk for LaPred. Everybody moves up a base. Christian Lopez comes in from 3rd. Landry goes to 3rd. Flores to 2nd. And it is a 2-run cushion for Alabama State. They lead at 8-6.
As you'd probably expect, Pablo Torres has sat down. He is almost certainly no longer in the cards unless the Wildcats are able to take the lead.
But the bats have gone quiet for Bethune-Cookman in the last couple of innings, even though they had 2 on with 1 out. In the last inning, couldn't scratch across a tying run. There's a strike to Juan Cruz, who's had an adventurous day. Singled in the 1st, homered to deep left center field in the 3rd. Breaking ball outside, check swing, no swing, 1-1. Cruz then struck out in the 4th and popped out on the infield in the 6th. Cruz coming into the game batting .396. And it's ones to the backstop. Coming home is Landry. He'll score. And it's 9-6. And Dale Machad has just not looked comfortable out there.
I'm talking to Dale throughout the year. He spent a lot of time behind home plate, working the radar gun, working as a part of the, ops department for the Wildcats, doing a lot of that, game scouting type work. And he would have told you pretty point blank that what he does in the regular season doesn't matter. It's as long as he's ready for the tournament, that's really all you can ask, especially as he heads for senior day on Saturday. He'll be one of 6 that'll be honored here for their time with this program. And you hope that it's not a physical limitation for Machad, maybe just an off night. We don't get to see every single bullpen session every single time he throws the ball. But if he's almost certainly, no matter what happens in the SWAC tournament, he could be great, but he's going to have to pitch at some point because everybody is. And so you hope it's not a physical limitation. You hope he's not, compensating for something still nagging at him. You're hoping it's something that he can just try to get right and try to work his way back to in time for the tournament. Because if he can have success in that, then that's all that matters.
Swinging a foul tip right at home plate by Cruz. Count is now 2-2. Everybody's moved up 90 feet. So we've got Flores at third, LaPret at second. Landry's come in. 2 in the inning for Alabama State. They lead at 9-6, and the wall to climb for the Wildcats with just 6 outs left on their pitching side. That's the best pitch Machad's thrown so far as he gets Cruz to go down swinging for the second time today. There's 2 outs.
And, maybe that's sort of small thing that's enough to kind of kickstart a little bit of a rally for Machad. Very well may see him again in the 9th. Just got to take the positives when you can on a season that's been so lost as far as the regular season's concerned.
Machad misses inside to Jack Hay. Hay grounded out in the first, walked in the third, walked in the fifth, and came around to score, then struck out in the 7th. So he's 0 for 2 with 2 walks. Final weekend of the regular season. Off-speed pitch in there for a strike, 1-1. The season that feels like it both goes by really fast and lasts forever. College baseball. You're only playing about 50 games.
It's funny. Looking back now, it does seem like it's flown by. But if you asked me 3 weeks ago, I'd say this season is dragged on forever, and there was plenty more to play. It's just kind of one of those seasons sneaks up on you.
2-1, ground ball foul outside of first, 2-2. Machad, a massive velocity change from Dylan Vega, works mostly with the off-speed pitch, and Hay was way out in front of that. So Dale a strike away from potentially getting out of the inning. Two. No strike 3 call upcoming from Patrick Graham behind the plate, so we'll see the full count delivery here. Not a lot has been contentious with the umpiring crew. 3-2, outside ball 4. Oh, he got him! A late strike call by Patrick Graham means that this inning is over. So 2 strikeouts for Machad, but unfortunately a walk and a wild pitch brings in 2 runs on just 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 left. And we go to the bottom of the 8th. Wildcats down 9-6. We move to the bottom of the 8th. Wildcats down by 3, but in a game like this that has had so many back and forth moments, you feel that you're still in there with a puncher's chance. But Johan Leboy, in his 29 pitches and 3 innings so far, has looked very smooth. Has only had one rough spot back in the 7th where there were 2 on with 1 out, but he struck out 2 straight to get out of that jam. Ramses Cordova pitch hits for Jamie Villafane in the 9 hole. First pitch to him, upstairs, ball 1. Cordova was the starter at shortstop for a long time, with Jamie Villafane being injured for a good portion of the middle of the season. Breaking ball strike outside corner, 1-1. Cordova batting .212, 22 runs on 28 hits, 2 doubles, 3 homers, 20 RBI, with a .297 on base percentage. And he hits one to right, moving in. LaPred makes the catch. It was pretty much hit right at him, and there's 1 down.
It's a shame because that's probably the hardest contact we've seen against Leboy since he's been out there. But right fielder doesn't have to move much.
And now back to the top of the order, Daniel Figueroa. 1 for 3 with a hit by pitch. Figueroa on a run scored. Grounded out to short in the 1st, tripled and scored in the 3rd, struck out in the 4th, was hit by a pitch, and was stranded on second in the 6th. Breaking, that is in there for a strike. That breaking ball is Leboy's best pitch. It breaks so late that the batter thinks it's going to go outside and then just drops back into the zone, especially to righties. And he's ahead of Figueroa 0-2. That one in the air to left field, and it will drop in front of Landry for a base hit. So not a bad day for Figueroa. 2 hits, a run scored.
Very easy swing right there. Not trying to crank anything, just kind of trying to get it over the infield, and he does that.
And here's the man who's maybe had the best day at the plate for the Wildcats, Garrett Chun, doubled in the 1st, tripled in Figueroa and scored himself in the 3rd, had an RBI single and scored in the 4th as well. And the first pitch to Chun looked to bunt, pulled it back, the pitch goes high. When you're riding someone as hot as Garrett Chun is, not sure why you would bunt him, especially down 3. Down 1, maybe I can see it, but you need all the offense you can get right now. And with nobody moving in the Bama State bullpen as that pitch goes high, 2-0. It looks like it's going to be Leboy's to finish. We were talking in between the inning break about who we're going to see from Alabama State to start the next 2 games. Maybe Luis Rodriguez or Jafet Martinez are the 2 on the roster with the most starts outside of Leboy. Breaking ball catches the outside corner to the lefty, 2-1. It's kind of been starting pitcher by committee for the Hornets this season. Outside of Leboy's 13 starts, nobody else has more than 8. Leboy looks back the runner at first and deals. Chun in the air, left field, going back Landry. He will reach up and barely make the catch on the warning track as the wind is whipping out there towards left.
Kind of swiped at that ball when he made the catch. Not sure if lost it in the lights and had to make a late grab for it, or maybe a little gust of wind. Not sure, but made the play regardless.
And now with 2 away, here's Sergio Rivera. Rivera flied out in the 1st. Watches one way outside, 1-0. Hit a RBI ground rule double to score Chun in the 3rd. Eventually came around to score himself. And then singled in the 4th and was stranded on 3rd. On a bunt single. 1-0. Breaking ball misses, 2-0. LeBoy up at 39 pitches. But as you mentioned, Bryce, he's pitched on some short rest earlier this season. That one is cranked down the left field line. Figueroa is going to make a long turn at for a second and go back there, but the inning stays alive with a Rivera single.
Well, if you're ever going to draw up a rally, this is probably how you would do it. We're going to have a little meeting on the mound just to talk things over. Nobody in that Bama State pen, but with two guys on for your best hitter and your best power hitter right behind him, there's some juice here for the Wildcats in the bottom of the 8th.
Gonzalez hasn't had the best night. Grounded out to end the first. Reached on an error in the third, but then was caught going to second. In the fourth, he singled the left RBI that scored Garrett Chun, and then he grounded out to third in the seventh. But you're right. The most consistent bat all year, batting .357 tops on the team. Most RBI, second most home runs.
Did get a couple of hits against LeBoy back in Montgomery. Sufrain behind him went 3 for 4 that night. So these two guys have had some success against the lefty.
2 outs, 2 on in the 8th. And a breaking ball in the zone for strike 1. LeBoy really relies, it almost looks like a cutter, a slow cutter. Doesn't have much left to right movement on it, but it really fools some of these Wildcat hitters. He comes back with a fastball, skips it to the plate. 1-1 the count. Wildcats down 9-6 in a series where they have to take one game to secure the number 2 seed from the East in the SWAC tournament. Swing and a miss, and you can tell that Jose Gonzalez is swinging for the fences.
He's got that hole in between first and second that he went opposite field through so well a couple ABs ago. Looked like he was trying to go opposite field right there.
LeBoy a strike away from getting out of another 2-on, 2-out jam. The 1-2. Strike 3 called outside corner. And for the second straight inning, the Wildcats watch strike 3 with 2 on and 2 outs. That one may be a bit more egregious from the umpiring perspective than the one to Colton Olison last inning, but you still got to protect the plate with 2 strikes. That ends the inning. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. The Wildcats down 3 headed to the 9th here on the CatEye Network. To the 9th we go. Kyler McIntosh leads off for the Alabama State Hornets. He's the only Hornet not to reach base tonight. He waves and misses at a breaking ball from Dale Machad, who's still on the hill after throwing 15 pitches in relief, getting 3 batters out, but giving up 2 runs in the 8th. McIntosh, another big swing and miss that time on a pitch down and in. Popped up on the infield in the 2nd, struck out in the 3rd and 5th, and flied out to center in the 7th. Connor McIntosh. And did he go? Yes, and he's down on strikes for the 3rd time today. That's a great pitch. Mix from Machad. Middle, inside, outside, 3 straight swinging strikes.
Give him a good chunk of confidence. Best full AB he's put together on the mound so far.
And the 3rd strikeout in a row across the inning break from Machad. Struck out Cruz, Hay, and now McIntosh. And here's Jamal George. George singled in the 2nd, was caught out in the middle of a double play to end that inning. He bunts it into the glove of Escobar, and there's out number 2. How about that for reaction speed by the man behind the plate?
It really is just that. I mean, it's just being aware, keeping your eye on the ball. Takes a little bow for his teammates in the dugout. Nice job to just snag it. Didn't really have to move too far for it. It's not like he had to lunge. Just kind of snapped the glove and grabbed it. Really nice play.
So now there's 2 away for Christian Lopez. Big loping curveball arcs through the zone for strike 1. This is better from Dale Machad. He a little bit of nerves in the last inning, but he still came back to get 2 straight strikeouts. And as I say that, he grounds one through the middle to Lopez for the first hit against Machad.
And if nothing else, it's good for Dale Machad to get this work in because just hasn't had a lot of it this year. So hasn't, especially in the last handful of weekends, hasn't seen the field a ton. So not a lot of innings under his belt, not a lot of pitches in live action under his belt. So to be able to just get the work may go further than we think when we get to next week.
That'll bring up Quentin Jacobs, runner on 1st and 2 down. First pitch, slider strike. Excuse me. Jacobs struck out twice, doubled and scored in the 4th, and sack bunted in the 8th. And it's low and outside. I'd wonder what the stealing numbers are against Machad, because his pitch speed is not extremely high, relies on trickery, and he's got a long windup even from the stretch, but he's been getting the Hornets to swing and miss at stuff like that, and the count is 1-2.
Another guy that has a lot more success when he's able to fire in that first pitch strike because he can use his off speed to set up his other off speed. And when he's able to mix locations like he has, he can really get some guys fooled.
And you can hear the grunt from Machad as he missed that pitch low and away. 2-2. Wildcats trying to get to the 9th or then have one more shot. Swing and a miss. Got him with the change low and away again. 2 strikeouts in the 9th, 4 overall in 2 innings of work for Machad. And the Wildcats will have one more chance down by 3 here on the CatEye Network. Puncher's chance for the Wildcats here in the ninth. Manny Sufrain will lead off. Alabama State leads it 9-6. Sufrain 1 for 3 with a hit by pitch. Was stranded 90 feet away back in the seventh. Was the potential tying run at that time. Would have made it 7-7. He leads off against LeBoy, who fires in a first pitch strike outside corner. LeBoy up near 50 pitches as he came in the sixth and completely settled this game down. It was a wild night before that offensively for both sides, as Alabama State was scoreless through 2, then 3 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, 2 in the eighth. Wildcats 1 in the second, 3 in the third, 2 in the fourth. And that is how we have our score of 9-6, a 1-1. Big breaking ball doesn't drop far enough. It's 2-1. We did eventually figure out that the game between Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Texas Southern was played. Texas Southern wins that game.
12-2 your final in that one.
2-1. Ground ball towards second. Fielded opposite his body by Jenkins. He'll throw out Sufrain one down.
You know, we're talking about the SWAC schedule. Now that we've confirmed that it was a Thursday, Saturday scheduled series for Grambling State and Southern, that's just a strange one with the end of the year. Why not do Thursday, Friday, then get on home, enjoy a couple days before heading to Atlanta? Why not? You could even do it the other way, Friday, Saturday. It's just a weird way to do that one.
You said there might have been rain, and I think that one is laced towards left field. That is going to be down and skip towards the wall. Irvin Escobar has 2 hits tonight. He's reached base 3 times. And the Wildcats have life in the ninth.
It's a way to get it started. It's going to take a little bit more of that to put yourself in a position.
It'll be Jorge Gonzalez Febo. Walked in the second, popped out in the fourth, singled in the fifth, and struck out with 2 on in the seventh. And Fabo watches one upstairs, ball 1. Once again, all your final scores in the SWAC: Prairie View over Alcorn 20-13, Jackson State over Alabama A&M 8-7, Grambling over Southern 19-4, Florida A&M over Mississippi Valley 7-3. 1-0 catches the outside corner for a strike on a breaking ball, 1-1. So the standings in the East, if all ends as scheduled, Florida A&M will go to 23-7. Bethune-Cookman will drop to 18-9. That puts first place out of reach for BCU, who needed to sweep and get some help this weekend. Alabama State will move to just 1 back of the Wildcats at 17-11. Jackson State at 16-12. They're still in the conversation as well. The 2-1 inside 3-1. Alabama State needs to keep winning as well, with Jackson State playing Alabama A&M this weekend and right on their heels. The 3-1 pitch to Fabo. In the dirt, ball 4, and there's 2 on with 1 out. Second walk of the game taken by Fabo.
Tying run comes to the plate. Don't anticipate Colton Olson launching one over the wall here, but we've gone about the rally the right way, which is get on by any means necessary. Taking what you give to Irvin Escobar, just gets a nice easy base hit, then you take your base to the walk.
We may be having a pitching change here. Here comes Coach Vasquez. I didn't realize there was a Hornet warming up in the bullpen with a potential save opportunity now with runners on base and a 3-run deficit.
I can't quite see the number from here, but it looks like if we do go to the pen, it's going to be a similar kind of strategy that Vasquez has employed throughout this game, which is to just go with maybe a different look on the mound. So we would go from a lefty traditional to a right-hander who's got a little bit more of that, not quite a sidearm, but that off angle, but it doesn't look like we're going to get called to the pen. So the boy's going to have a chance to work out of it.
One out in the ninth. Colton Olison would be the tying run as he comes to the plate. Olison had an RBI ground out in the second, walked, stole twice, and scored in the fourth, flew out to left in the fifth. That was a hard hit ball to left, forced Landry all the way back to the track, and then struck out to end the seventh with runners on second and third and a one-run deficit. So he'll be looking for some makeup after that. The boy stares in. And Olison dribbles one foul down the third base line.
Aggressive, going after the first pitch, especially with the double play, very much a possibility. But saw something he liked. Might have been a little too jumpy, might have gotten a little out in front of it.
I wonder if the pitcher throwing the bullpen for the Hornets is Luis Rodriguez. He's got the most saves on the season, but he's also one of their other starters that they could potentially burn tonight. There's a fastball right down the middle. Olison watches it and then kicks the dirt in frustration. He's down 0-2.
Now what you can't do is what he did last time up. You can't be overly conservative and try to take that pitch on the outside edge and then get angry when it's called against you.
The 0-2 from the boy. Swung and fouled away. Colton stays alive.
And see, that's a good approach. Just staying defensive. Even if maybe you didn't love the pitch, you saw him kind of have to throw his bat after it a little bit outside, but staying defensive. It's a ball, it's a ball. But if it's really close, especially with the strike zone we've gone tonight, that's been a little bit tight, consistent, but tight.
Big shrug of the shoulders for the senior from Spring Hill, Florida. He's behind 0-2, and the pitch from LeBoy is grounded softly towards third. Charging Lopez. He will throw across, but the runners move up, and the Wildcats are down to their last out.
Not the absolute worst outcome you could get there. Olison probably fortunate that he didn't get as much on that ball, so didn't get to that infield defense as quickly as it could have to avoid the double play.
Last chance for the Wildcats will be Ramses Cordova in the 9-hole. Flew out to center his first time up in relief of Jamie Villafane at second. And a season average of 212. That one way outside. If you're LeBoy, you don't want to give the Wildcats a cheap one here by throwing one over your catcher's head.
And if you're able to load the bases here, it's going to get really tight. Almost certainly a move for the bullpen, I'd imagine.
LeBoy wants to close this one out. But he misses again and shakes his head in frustration. Up to 56 pitches, Yorhan. But he's thrown over 100 pitches twice this year, so he's got the length in the arm. There's a breaking ball strike. Let's go back to the well and what's worked for you, which is that cutter.
Setting up everything outside. Looks like they're going to go back to it again.
2-1. They went with the fastball, and Cordova, maybe expecting breaking ball, just got a piece of it. And the Wildcats are down to their last strike. Two outs. Way upstairs, 3-2. So the three balls in this at-bat have been way up there.
Got to remember to be defensive. Get too picky. Swing if you need to keep the AB alive.
Full count delivery now. Line to left. Moving over Landry. He slides and he made the catch. And that's the end of the ball game. Now, there is some contention that the ball might have hit the ground. Coach Hernandez is arguing with the home plate umpire, Patrick Graham. He told Cordova to stay at first base. He said that Landry dropped the ball. And now the umpires are going to talk about it. So we will see here. I don't think they're going to change the call.
There's almost no way, and even if we were to review the footage that we have, it's just far enough away that it's going to be impossible to tell. I mean, I thought from our angle that he made the play. If none of these officials saw it that way, it's no real quick argument to be made to the contrary. It's really a nice effort regardless out there in left field, but probably going to have to take the tough luck end to the night. We'll see how long they decide to talk about it.
The conversation must be, did you see him drop the ball? Did you see him drop the ball? No. That's the end of the game. I cannot believe they would call him safe here. It's just nothing in my experience watching games at this facility with no replay available.
The only other thing I could think is if you're talking through, well, did you see kind of that motion that we would expect to see if the ball did bounce, where he kind of goes down with it, swipes the glove at it, to have to come up on it off the turf. But if that's all you see, I still don't think it's convincing enough that you can make the call. It's probably one of those things where you just have to stick with what was called, just because, even as you would with replay, there's not enough evidence to overturn.
Like there's not going to overturn it. Of course, Coach Hernandez is disappointed, but there's no replay. You can't go back and look at it. So the call stands, and then the Wildcats would still be down. It's not like the game would be tied or anything, but the game ends. The Wildcats fall 9-6. They go to 28-24 on the year, 18-9 in conference play, and are still looking for one win to clinch that number 2 seed. They've got 2 more chances to do it over the next 2 days.
And the message at this point in this, routine outfield huddle is just breathe. Because there's no reason in any spot of any baseball season to get tight about the possibility of getting swept after losing game 1. Yeah, it means a little bit more in this one because you need a game to clinch your seeding spot. Yeah, they're breathing down your neck trying to steal your spot in line in the SWAC East, but you cannot come out flat tomorrow because you're worried about the possibility of having to go into senior day on Saturday with that possibility of dropping that third game and losing. You can't play tomorrow's game with Saturday in front of you. You have to take it game by game. You have to take away from tonight. Yeah, the bats were great tonight. They were really outstanding. And they may have cooled off a little bit late, but that doesn't mean there was some good contact put even in this inning right here. There were good ABs put together. There's plenty of positives on the offensive end. Sure, you left a lot of guys on base. Sure, the loss of Tanner Bocabello earlier in this game is a little bit demoralizing, but you cannot come out flat tomorrow. If you roll into Saturday and you have that possibility of getting swept, it's going to be a hard hill to climb to take that game if you're already in your own head mentally like that.
Your final line score, Alabama State wins it 9 runs on 14 hits. They committed 1 error and left 8 on base. Bethune-Cookman, 6 runs, also had 14 hits, committed 3 errors and left 12 on base. The winning pitcher is Johan LeBoy. I'm not sure who gets credited for the loss for the Wildcats. It might be Dylan Vega. I'm not going to swear to that, but I think it is Dylan Vega, because that is who was pitching when they went ahead for good back in the 5th inning. Once again, your final score, Alabama State 9, Bethune-Cookman 6. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live right here on the CatEye Network for Game 2 of this series. For Bryce Wojnowski and our entire crew here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark, my name is Michael Trabello. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you tomorrow night.